Gaming news today is all about PlayStation, and how much we heard in the last 2 days makes it undeniable they're doing well, but they couldn't really have a clean win this week. A lot of narratives died this week under the weight of facts, evidence, and stats. We were told that Yotei didn't sell well and that it had flopped. Sorry, I'm choking on the BS. We were told that Yotei didn't sell better than Tsushima. We were told that consoles were stagnating and dying. We were also told you can't really grow the console market anymore. And then a Sony earnings call happened, and basically every one of those narratives was silenced. Yotei did more than sell well. It outsold Tsushima in the same period of time. It also, quote, significantly contributed to the financial results of the quarter. Not surprising, given it was the 11th most sold game last year out of all games. It outsold Call of Duty in North America. But we were also told exclusives are archaic, they're anti-consumer, and they don't make as much money. Well, how could all of this happen? How could one game destroy so many narratives about gaming in one fell swoop? It didn't flop, it didn't fail to outpace its predecessor, and it somehow, only being on one platform, it held its own with all those other big multi-plat titles. If I were a betting man, I would bet that it's very likely they're going to celebrate this at PlayStation, and they're going to see it as a reason to continue doing exclusives going forward. And what about console sales? PlayStation 5 has surpassed 90 million consoles sold, putting not just them on pace with the PS4, but it actually matched the PS4 during the same period of time during that console's life cycle. And during the holiday season, the PlayStation 5 actually was stronger than expected. It even managed to outsell the Switch 2. Now keep in mind, the PS5 has done this after a slow start during the pandemic and chip shortages. It did this without dropping the price halfway through the gen. It did this after raising the price last year. Now, to be fair to the Switch 2, it was very strong last year. It was the stronger seller of the two, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? After being told that consoles were stagnating and unable to grow, Nintendo and PlayStation are jockeying for lead positions in quarters where the PS5 is keeping pace with the PS4. And that's not the only other piece of evidence for growth. The MAU, monthly active users for PlayStation, hit another all-time record. They reached 132 million monthly active users in December, which is up year over year. This continues the trend that I highlighted the last time these numbers came out, and Sony was boasting of a 20 to 30% new user acquisition rate while also hitting new MAU records. It means something very simple. PlayStation is growing, despite claims that that is not possible. And they've done this without even truly beginning to push into the Chinese market with their China Hero project that is basically an untapped market with respect to console sales. They've done this without GTA 6 launching yet. And if you're worried about the RAM situation affecting the PS5 production lines or pricing, the CFO for Sony said that they've secured enough memory to maintain PS5 stock levels until the end of the holiday season 2026. On this subject of hardware, AMD recently revealed that the Xbox Project Magnus is on pace for 2027. Virtually anybody in the know has said that that's basically going to be a PC, and it won't be very cheap. And the Steam machine continues to evade the price reveal because they probably aren't going to be able to keep that price very low either. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that PlayStation and Nintendo have become the de facto consoles, and even in that, they're vastly different than each other. Yesterday, after the Nintendo Partner Direct, I said I could see PS4 games landing on the Switch too. That'd be a great way to get folks to add the PlayStation 5 to their gaming lineup. Sony had the data. They have the data now. They know that this worked with PC. Nobody's going to leave PlayStation for the Switch 2 if PS4 games that are close to 10 years old start making their way over there. The only potential is that those customers could consider adding a PS5 to play the sequels of those old PS4 games that are now on the PlayStation 5. Also, there are rumors that a better PlayStation Portal is coming this year and a PlayStation handheld next year. I see that as very different than some of the people that we discussed this with yesterday. They think, well, if they're going to do a handheld, they would never put their games on the Nintendo Switch 2. Going to a handheld hybrid console would expose that user base to great games like Horizon Zero Dawn or Spider-Man 1, and then when you launch your handheld, they could play the PS5 sequels on something that they're very familiar with, or maybe even a form factor that they like. They like to game on the go, perhaps. PlayStation has had new leadership, and they seem very focused on pushing new user acquisition and increasing monthly active users. The MAU number is becoming very important. The recent earnings report makes it very clear. PlayStation continues to be undeniable in the face of so many narratives. Narratives about exclusives, about console sales growth, about Yotei, even the narrative that big PlayStation fans, they thought that putting PlayStation games on PC was a mistake. Tweaktown recently added up all the earnings reported, and they've been able to calculate that roughly $2.3 billion has been generated by PlayStation putting games on PC and Xbox. Now, obviously, this is a third party adding up the revenue, and this is over all of the years that they've been doing it, not just one quarter. But this is just one more aspect of the picture. If you're looking at all of this as a PlayStation fan, and you don't like games going to PC, maybe you recoil at my theory that old PlayStation 4 games could make their way to the Switch too. You have to see that these are decisions that Sony has made from a position of strength in the market. It's very different than Xbox deciding that exclusives are no longer necessary. Much of what Xbox has done has been from the third position, admitting they can't out-console Sony and Nintendo, completely abandoning hardware being the focus, jettisoning the idea of brand ambassador tentpole exclusives to grow your platform. All the fear and worry about what putting PlayStation games on PC would lead to just has not come to fruition. So don't be surprised if Sony makes other moves that target similar results and similar strategies. But like any corporation, Sony can't seem to avoid the trends and the pitfalls that we see big companies make. On the heels of a great earnings call that shows their dominance and their growth, they announced Horizon Hunters Gathering, which is another attempt at live service, and it's going in this direction that we've seen other games go. They're using, however, one of their most successful pieces of property. And the more I've watched this trailer and reveal and discussion, the more I just don't like this. It's another derivative and soulless art style. At first, I thought the cinematics looked promising. The machines and the art style looked good to me. It was like a cel-shaded anime. But then the gameplay showed up, and it looks like another hero-based forgettable game. The public response has been very split. The like ratio on this video is arguably terrible, and that's not a good sign for a game that you want a lot of people to play. Now, I said initially, listen, I know it won't be easy. Maybe they can find a way to change the art style. No, I'm not saying you need to completely overhaul it. That would be unrealistic. I'm also not arguing that it needs to be photorealistic. But it has to feel more like Horizon. The opening cinematic feels like Horizon. Some of that's because you have characters that are recognizable. Right now, if you just watch the section of this trailer that is just gameplay, it's almost impossible to tell that this is a Horizon game. The choice to do heroes is also, I don't think, going to land very strong in the current market. There is a hesitancy, there's a recoiling, there's a negativity about hero games. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe the art style and the gameplay loop will be more popular in a market of Monster Hunter fans. Or maybe there's just so many Horizon fans that it'll do well almost automatically. That doesn't mean it's going to last or have a vibrant player base months after release, but initial sales could be strong enough to get a return on the investment of the project. 40 million something units have sold across the Horizon franchise. That's a lot of potential consumers. Monster Hunter is a big game, and it's very popular. That's a lot of other potential consumers who could see this as a fun romp. You can take a popular IP and do something with it. But the problem is, this feels like another calculated corporate-driven project. Let's take that popular IP and, well, we'll do the hero live service thing. People will love that. The ripple effect of what Fortnite convinced executives and developers they can do, I think, is still making landfall. So while Sony and PlayStation look very strong right now, their live service games also continue to make them lots of money. They internally cited that both MLB The Show and Helldivers 2 are meaningful contributors to their annual revenue. It doesn't mean that they won't make mistakes along the way. Which I can hear somebody saying, well, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs, right? We've all heard this saying. But this sort of feels like Sony is throwing eggs at the wall instead of cracking them to make new ideas and new games. So as it stands, PlayStation is undeniable in so many areas. But that doesn't mean that they're going to stay that way forever. Decisions like this with Horizon can create brand dilution. It can frustrate consumers. It can make them less likely to trust you if they feel like you're just sort of using the popularity of something to do another very corporate calculated game that we've seen so many times before. So as it stands, they're doing well. They just talked about how well they're doing, but from where I sit, they almost immediately stepped on a rake. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below if you watch this live stream later. Make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss these shows. You want to be here for these lively discussions. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. It is Friday. It's the end of the week, so make sure and hit that like button. And thank you to the people that are already celebrating their memberships or gifting. Haseo kicked things off with a gifted, and then Joker Quinn did a gifted, and then Minch Tree hits 53 months on a VIP, putting us exactly 20 members away from the milestone. We did lower the goal this week because I took a day off. We only need to get to 400. If you guys want that Saturday stream where my wife reacts to gaming news, and we do owe you some more high guard games. I ended up feeling kind of bad. I didn't feel like we had her play enough. So be sure to celebrate those renewals as Vix Vapor just did over here on YouTube. 37 months says we made it to the weekend, and 19 months from Dynamite J. Thank you so much. Bumping that line one more time. This all sounds like young horse talk until the end there. I'm not sure what you mean. Dean Bromley with 14 months and Member Plus bumps a line as well. And Wired Rope's going to kick things off with the first member bomb of the day and gets us to 5 versus 6. Pony. Huh? This all sounds like, Pony talk. I hope those morons who call Owen and Pony hear him criticizing Sony's live service decision here. Well, the issue I have is, I don't care if, people want to call me a pony. Anytime I've been critical of PlayStation, people will just say that I'm doing it to appear neutral. So it's like, you can't win. They're going to interpret everything you do through that lens. If you praise Sony, you're a pony. If you're critical of Sony, you're faking. You're doing it to appear neutral. It's like, okay, so basically I can't criticize or praise them. Whatever I do, you think this. So like, I don't care about that. That's a predetermined conclusion, right? My issue is, it looks like you're taking a very, very strong IP and potentially doing something very corporate and calculated with it, and those tend to not go well. It doesn't feel like a game that was born out of passion. It feels like another calculated hero game. Like, oh, this will be popular, and they came up with the idea years ago, and now that it's making landfall, it's like, yeah, the culture and gaming's moved on from this, man. People don't like these kinds of games. Quick recap. Homie, I've been live for 11 minutes. You got to rewind if you want to recap. That's ridiculous. I'm not an hour into the show, my man. Just rewind. The MBG tweet is doing numbers for a reason. Dauntless closed for a reason. Yeah, the like ratio is terrible. The like ratio is terrible. 33,000 dislikes to 15,000 likes. That you don't see that for PlayStation property. Their games usually get a lot of praise and adulation and excitement. Their trailers usually do very well, whether it's Soros or Wolverine. Any of their games typically get lots of praise. Horizon is extremely popular. Yo, Bread My Butter with 32 months and Member Plus. I disagree. It's a PvE live service game. Arc Raiders is proving right now that people like that. Just my opinion, though. I don't mind the art style. Here's the problem, and this is what we talked about with High Guard. So we're gonna, as they say, keep it a buck. If you're gonna come into the market and your game looks like this, don't be surprised when it gets downvoted and people say they don't like it, because people have expressed that they don't like this. Nobody should be shocked at that like ratio. Nobody should be shocked that people are saying, no, this doesn't look good. I don't want to play that. This looks like 18 other games that have tried to come out and capitalize on the Fortnite-ification of art style and live service and ongoing games. Nobody should be surprised by this. It's like, to me, it's the same thing I'm going to say I said with High Guard. It's like, did you guys pay attention to the market at all? Did you pay attention to what happened to Concord? Did you pay attention to what happened to Dauntless? Did you pay attention to what happened to any games? To me, it seems like you are really hoping, and maybe they make their money. That's a very, very distinct possibility, that they break even or they make a little bit of profit. Horizon's an enormous piece of property. Monster Hunter's an enormous piece of property. You could get enough people to buy this strictly off of those things alone. I don't see a game like this surviving, lasting, or having longevity, because it's just another game where in 3 months I'm going to come back and pick some hero named, Asher, and I'm killing things with him and then grinding for pieces and parts and leveling. I just think people have moved on from that. They don't feel like they're in the game. They don't feel like they're a part of the world or the growth. I mean, one of the reasons you see games be so successful, whether it is Arc Raiders or others, is people feel like they are in the game. They feel like it's a communal space for them to be. Hunter's Gathering looks like a freaking mobile game. That's what's so bizarre. The mobile MMO looks like Horizon. This looks like a disposable, hero-based mobile game. The more I've watched it, the more I don't like it. I'm like, I am shocked that you guys landed this after all this time, and you've made no adjustments to the art style. I just don't get it. I don't know why it's so obvious to me and not obvious to these developers that the public and the gaming world is like very, very much recoiling from this type of game, this type of art style. It's this Pixarification of everything. Everything looks like it's got 18 levels of whimsy injected into it, and it's also juvenile feeling. I don't know what to say other than that. It just feels so disposable, so derivative. It doesn't feel like it's got heart, soul, and grit. It feels shallow. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time you see a trailer for a game, it communicates so much to you with the art style. The first time we saw Horizon, we all remembered it. Weeks later, we were talking about it. Yo, John always comes in with the VIP in 53 months. The only positive I can take from the new aesthetic is that at least they can't be accused of flipping assets. Let's add that to the total. We're exactly 10 away from 200, and the hype train over there on Purple's got a minute and a half left if you guys want to roll that over and try and create a little momentum over there. The reason I don't play most JRPGs is I can't make my own characters. You have to pick from classes where you can't even pick their gender. It's immersion breaking. Yeah, like if you really like a particular playstyle, but you got to play as the big, huge, chunky lady or the really small, petite girl, it's like maybe you don't want to look like that. Maybe you want to look a big, strong dude or whatever it is you want to look like. You're stuck. That's what they look like. You're like, well, I like their playstyle. I like their moves, but I don't want to look like that. And I'm not even invoking the whole like woke thing. I think there is plenty of like variety within the characters. I don't think they're doing the whole like we got to make sure we got ugly, you know, or overweight women in the game or whatever. I don't think they're doing that at all. I think that at least the one character that does look big and chunky, it makes sense. Like that's what she's doing. There's plenty of games that do that. Overwatch does that. There's big, you know, big, huge, we would call fat characters because it's part of their identity and part of their play style. I don't have an issue with that. It's just a matter of you're stuck with that if that's what you pick. Hang on 1 second. I got to scroll back up here. Oh, no, I don't. MTO with 35 months. Thank you so much. Hey, Lono, what happened to this person? Yeah, I'm not paying any attention to that MTO. I don't really care. $5 super chat from Haseo. The suits in the room need to change their mind, their mindset. They need to start trends instead of chasing them. That's so well stated, Haseo. Like, instead of setting trends, they're chasing trends. This doesn't feel like a game that was born out of passion, innovation, and new ideas. It's like, let's take Horizon and let's do the hero live service thing that everybody's been doing. Like, what the frick, man? Why? Horizon's such a strong IP. You don't have to do this. You could have made a game that, number one, looked like Horizon and was co-op, and you go out into the world and you do all this stuff, and you can make your own character. Like, take a day, and just walk around the world of Horizon and go to the towns and look at all the people. They've got cool armor, different face paint, different weaponry, different vibes. And me being able to make my character look a particular way, or, oh, I'm going to grind for their armor. These guys really like taking down, like, you know, jaw breakers, and these guys really like taking down the iron claws or whatever. You got these new enemies you're going to go fight, and then when they drop certain pieces, you can make certain armor and look a certain way. That'd be freaking dope. That would be cool. This feels so disposable, so stupid, so mobile game. I'm like, what the heck is this? It's a bunch of prefab characters, an art style that looks like Fortnite and Pixar puked on Horizon. I missed a super chat? I did? Oh, I see it. I'm sorry. Hunters with a $2 super chat says gamers are calling all of these games Concord. Do you want to know why they're calling them Concord? You don't have to look like Concord to get that accusation. You have to look soulless. You have to look like you have no soul. The minute you have this corporate generic feel, this video game by C-suite, The minute it looks like that, people are going to be like, that's just another freaking Concord, man. The game's got no heart. The game's got no soul. It's Horizon in name only. Like, it just doesn't look like anything that would have come out of that universe. This literally, like, it looks like you told an AI to make a video game, and you're like, hey, take all of the machines from Horizon, and make a hero live service game that looks kind of like Pixar and Fortnite. That's literally, it looks like prompts created the game. It doesn't look like people created the game. Does that make sense? It feels so devoid of personal touch. It looks like a game made by prompt than made by people. I can't see it any other way. When I watched it over and over again, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not looking at this right. I'm like, no. Upon further inspection, it gets worse. It doesn't get better. And this, again, I'm telling you what happened. This and many other games were sketched out, storyboarded, and started production around 2021 and 2022, and they're living in the shadow of what they thought Fortnite was going to do, and they're basically chasing that trend. And now when the games make landfall, it's like, what the frick is this? Why did you guys make this? Why did you do this? You know? It's like you're running a restaurant, and in one night there's a convention in town of people that love salad. And they come in and they all order salad. And you're like, I tell you what we should do. Our salads are banging, apparently. Over the weekend, we sold more salads than we've ever sold. Let's change the entire menu to salad. Well, guess what's going to happen? The convention's going to come to a close. All those people are going to leave, and you're going to start to have to serve the normal customers again. And they're going to be like, what did you do to the menu? Why did you do this? That's what this feels like. It's like, oh, wow, look at the popularity of Fortnite. This is what people want. This is what people will play. Maybe not. Maybe the minute something feels derivative like this, people are going to smell insincerity, and they're not going to want to play your game. Does that make sense? Like, that's what all of these games feel like. It feels like such a reaction, such like a whiplash knee-jerk, like, hey, let's all do that. And now the games are making landfall, and the community's like, this doesn't seem like something that was born out of the studio and passion and what you guys wanted to build. Art style's the problem. Art style is the first thing the game trips on. The second thing the game trips on is the heroes. I'm here to tell you, I don't think people are gravitating to a game like this in the way that they used to. Exactly, Incredible Black. You'd come out and be like, hey, don't you guys like salads? They'd be like, what are you talking about? 36 months from Donkey Sausage over there on Purple. Thank you so much. What's crazy is Horizon itself is unique and went against trends of the time. I don't want to overstate this, but there were people on Twitter talking about, like, you guys will make anything, but you won't make Killzone, whatever, right? People are taking pretty significant shots. I completely sympathize with the people that are almost, like, heartbroken. They're like, are you freaking serious? You guys made Killzone. You go buck up against that expectation and make Horizon, and you shock everybody, and this is what you bring to the market? Some derivative hero shooter, like, in an art style that seems incredibly divorced from what Horizon is. Like, when I reacted to this yesterday, I feel like I was pretty measured. I was like, well, the art style looked cool in the cinematics, but once they started the combat, it felt like Horizon left the room, and some, like, Dauntless adjacent, you know, non really memorable game took its place, right? And again, I'm being more harsh now because the more I watched it, the more I disliked it. The more I was like, man, oh man, I get why people are kind of heartbroken. They're like, this is what you guys decided to do? You decided to break off a part of the team to make this? I thought it was just a small team. Joe Raptor was on Twitter telling people, no, there are significant portions of the company working on this. There are significant portions of the main team working on this. It's not just some small little 10-person team. I think this is what a lot of the online world struggles with. Wait, what do you respond to? What did Corey say? I can't find Corey in the chat. Oh, did Corey get a badge? He hasn't had a badge in a while. That made it easier to find him. Did somebody get him gifted yesterday? I literally can't find him in the chat. Where the frick is he? I'm scrolling and scrolling. Oh, there he is. He says, I don't see PlayStation putting games on Nintendo primarily because Nintendo has carved its space as the default secondary platform. Oh, I mean, that's a whole nother debate. Yeah, that's a whole nother debate. I still see that as a very distinct possibility that old PS4 games make their way to the Switch 2 because the Switch 2 is not competing with PlayStation at all. Getting somebody exposed to Horizon and then being like, man, I'd really like to play Forbidden West or Spider-Man 2 or what have you, and then having like a PlayStation handheld and a PlayStation 5 right there, I see that as a potential another form of PlayStation strategy. I think the new leadership has got a very different idea about things. It's just a hunch that I have. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but that's something that I can definitely foresee happening. That's a very different debate than the Horizon Hunters Gathering debate. Omar says, I think it's more simple than that. At least for me, when I see it, I just don't care. Well, we've talked about baked-in familiarity before, okay? When we talked about Destiny, and when you started to see the Destiny veneer chip, and the player base sort of starts not revolt, but they hit like vocalized fatigue, okay? One of the reasons that happened is the seasons all started to feel like exactly the same as the previous. It didn't matter that you were shooting new enemies and chasing new weapons. All the scaffolding and structure felt entirely the same. We have restaurants in our city that are owned by the same guy, and the menus are almost identical. Layouts of the restaurants are very similar. So when you go from one to the other, you don't really feel like you're going to a different restaurant. Now, that's a good thing if you really like the restaurant. In this case, you guys sit down in this game, and you're like, man, the structure of the content feels like I've been here before, and it makes you sort of be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to play this. I'll get to the super chats and the members in just a second. So what I think happens with a game like this, the reason you feel nothing, you've already rejected games that look like this before. It's like me not really liking fighting games. The minute I see a fighting game, I feel very little because I'm like, I know that I don't like fighting games. You could make the world's most good-looking, most amazing-looking fish for dinner, and I'm going to be like, I don't really like fish. I don't care the work that you put in. I don't care the artistry. I don't care the prep method. It doesn't matter. I've tried it 18 different ways. I don't like it, okay? People have already decided they don't like these types of games, and this is why so many people just failed to come to grips with why Highguard was immediately rejected. Highguard was not rejected because people are hateful and nasty. Highguard was not rejected because Jeff Keighley hyped it up. Highguard was rejected because it looked like things we've already decided that we don't like. It looked like 18 other games I've played or skipped over. That's the problem with Horizon Hunters Gathering. It looks like something I've decided I have no interest in. The art style, the heroes, the gameplay, it all looks derivative. It all looks like something I've seen before. Now, you're seeing this with samurai games already starting. People are like, another samurai game, another samurai game, another samurai game. The difference is those games can find pockets of support, make sales, and do fine. A live service game or like an ongoing game, you can't do that. You need tons of people to play your game and support your game. And that's the problem. There's a baked-in familiarity here. It's like, I've seen this before. I've played a game like this before. I'm not interested in this. I don't care that it's Horizon. That's why it's getting downvoted and hated on. It's not because people are miserable or don't get it, or they're just nasty. People want to blame the consumer. It's so weird to me, like when a game comes out and doesn't get good reception, people want to blame the consumer. It's like, you've got it backwards. Like, the customer's always right in matters of taste. And this is an art style and a vibe that people have rejected. They have. You're late. You saw Fortnite, you put this together thinking you could leverage your property to make some sort of Fortnite-adjacent ongoing hero game with a similar art style, and the community at large is saying, we are so sick of this. That's my take, is you're a day late and a dollar short, or a couple years late and a dollar short. Yo, Dan, thank you for 30 months of memberships and a member plus. Keep up the great work as always. Love the show. And side note, just finished Space Marine 2 and finally going to play Control on the Pro. Man, you're eating good. Space Marine 2 was so great on the Pro. It fixed a lot of my struggles with frame rate and my frustrations with frame rate. Control is just amazing. It's so good. I've got a script that I've written about that game and sort of the philosophy of the game. And what the game means and what it means for the second game. I'm going to try to work on that very soon for you guys. Social Destruct with a $5 super chat says, what makes it worse is they mention Killzone in that blog by name when people have been asking for years. That's what's really irritating. Alapart comes in with the 42-month resub. Given Guerrilla's track record, I'm really surprised this is the game that they decided to make. The PlayStation blog post makes it seem like they really wanted to do this. It feels disconnected to me. All right, let me explain something. There is two types of desire in the gaming world when it comes to developers. I don't doubt that they wanted to make this game. I don't think PlayStation kicked the door in and said, make a Fortnite version of Horizon. Like, I don't think that happened, okay? I don't. I believe that they wanted to make this game. I believe that the guys that made Kill the Justice League, I think they wanted to make that game. There are two types of desires within the development world. There is a desire that is born out of passion and an original idea. Then there is desire to have the success that somebody else has had. I can't see it any other way. I'm not calling their integrity into question. I'm not saying they're dishonest. I'm here to tell you, developers see something like Fortnite and they salivate. They say, oh my gosh, can you imagine having that level of support, that level of power, that level of notoriety, that level of impact? Do not take the human element out of developers. We've all gone through this. You see a celebrity's big house, new car. You see the amount of albums that somebody has sold, and you're like, oh, dude, I would love to be that successful, that famous, that wealthy. Don't try to take the human element out of this. If you think that developers don't look at successful games and think, man, I wish we could do that too, you're kidding yourself. A bunch of developers and a bunch of studios looked at Fortnite and thought, hey, we're gonna take our turn to try to be the belle of the ball. We're gonna take a crack at that. We're gonna try and do something like that. Naughty Dog did it. Guerrilla did it. All these games that have come out, Concord did it. Highguard did it. They all did it. They saw the success of Fortnite and they salivated and said, we can do that too. Especially considering the work that went into Fortnite was almost an insult to how much development goes into games. Fortnite Battle Royale was like a slap together fun idea. Like a, hey, what do you guys think of this? You guys want to play our game as a Battle Royale? The number of development hours that went into Fortnite's Battle Royale is peanuts compared to the number of development hours that goes into a game like Horizon Forbidden West. They're not even comparable. So I think that gave a bunch of studios a whole lot of hubris. They're like, we can do that. For Pete's sakes, if they can do that with that little bandwidth and that little development time, we could make a killer game like that. That's what I think happened. So I believe them when they said that they really wanted to make this game. Yeah, I'll bet you did. I'll bet you did. You thought you were going to be some big popular live service game. And by the time your game comes to the market, everyone's like, homie, you're like the 7th game to look like this, smell like this, talk like this, walk like this. We are sick of this. Get out of here. That's why Highguard was instantly rejected. That's why this game's getting almost instantly rejected. You're number 7. You're number 8. You're like the 7th or 8th game that's tried to do this. You think it's a coincidence that games like Marvel Rivals and Valorant have also come out? Now, because somebody invoked those games. Yeah, I agree. Those are also games that came from studios saying, oh, we want to do that too. We want to make money. We want to be successful. Don't kid yourself if you think that developers are out here as like these only driven by passion, only driven by desire to make new and original things. They're a human being just like you. And if they see an opportunity to make a bunch of money, they're going to chase that. They're going to chase that bag, boys. They're going to. And I think a lot of them are learning really hard lessons right now. I think they are. Now, I don't know if Horizon Hunters Gathering will go the same way. I need to be fair to them. I probably should have mentioned this in the show open to be a little bit more balanced in the coverage. To their credit, they've let us see a lot of the game. They're not like keeping it a secret. They're going to go into early testing and let people provide feedback. Jor Raptor says, and another guy that I watched this morning that got to play it, they both said, I hope a bunch of people play it and provide feedback, because we did. And it sounds like their feedback was ignored. That's concerning. I think that's concerning. You let homies come and play it. The one guy didn't even get invited back the second time. He didn't get invited back the second time, and he said that the people in the picture for the second play session, the second council or whatever, was a lot of people that he didn't even recognize. They weren't like familiar with the Horizon IP, and it's like, well, that could be a problem. That could be a problem. You can have people that are not even remotely familiar with the IP, basically not seeing the issues, not seeing the mistakes, the missteps, or like the, man, this doesn't really feel like Horizon. This doesn't really seem like a Horizon game. Derek says, I think we should remember that plenty of these games we're talking about in retrospect were great. Uncharted Online was fun. T-Lu Factions was great. Problem, even players like me who, Derek, you got to finish your thought there. You got two messages that you're going to need to send. I mean, I'll respond to the factions and the Uncharted thing. I'm here to tell you something that people are missing about those games. They were modes attached to games that sold very well. I love both franchises dearly, and I thought the online offerings were great. Didn't actually convert me into playing an online customer. Becoming an online customer. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're saying kind of the same thing I'm saying, Derek, that like those were add-on modes that like some of their popularity was because they were the sidecar to like a really, really fast motorcycle. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they were the sidecar. No, nobody was buying that Uncharted or The Last of Us for the online modes. They weren't. They hitched their wagon to something that was already doing well, already popular, or already renowned. So a bunch of people were like, hey, this is really fun. Now I can continue playing this game and kind of being in this game's world even after I've rolled credits. It kind of makes sense, right? Similar things happened with Ghost of Tsushima Legends. You had people that like really vibed with Ghost of Tsushima, and you can continue to be in the world of Tsushima and doing things in Tsushima because of Legends. Why doesn't Lono need a good AC? Because he's always has a cool stream. Oh my gosh. Thank you for 53 months in a VIP, putting us exactly 5 away from 200. Who's going to steal this milestone? The goal, let me update the goal's not showing right. Hang on a second. Hang on. It should be 400. There we go. That's what we're trying to do. The goal is 400, not 500. And DK Bager's going to bump the line by 1. Thank you, DK Bager. If you guys can get it to 400. And Wired Rope's going to steal it for Twitch. And he's also going to be an agent of chaos. He pushes us past 200. You guys are really going to need to fly. You're going to really need to fly if you want to unlock the Saturday night stream with Madam. The irony is that Miyoho just released a game. Hang on, I gotta close this over here. And a VIP from ADJC, thank you so much. With a similar cartoon like, and it's doing really well without the support of this community. I will concede this point, and I conceded this point yesterday, Corey. This game could blow up in other markets. It could. The art style and the Monhun vibe, this thing could become super popular in Japan, Korea, China. I don't know. It's possible that the art style and the almost like anime-like cinematics are designed with very, very intentional forethought of, we know folks in Europe and America probably are going to be a little iffy on this. We're targeting a different demographic. Very similarly, people are very upset about the NCSoft MMO that's only on mobile. I think that thing's dead set targeting China. I think that's what that game is designed to do, is to blow up in China. And Haseo with a $5 super chat. We got some gifteds coming in. A 10 bomb from Terminal Stupidity and a renewal from Arthur Torres. 39 months. Thank you, Arthur. Haseo says, I think trends only last for a moment. It flows and sways like water. So when they chase trends, it's already too late. You never step into the same river twice. Right? There was a philosopher that was known for saying this, and it was essentially the idea that, like, things change and move very quickly, almost like you're never the same person. You're always changing and always moving. If you step into the river and step out and back into it, it's a different river. Why? All of the water has moved. It's a completely different river. The idea. I missed Alex. Oh, Alex had a 5-bomb as well over there on Purple. Here we go. Bit of a member train back and forth between Twitch and YouTube. Thank you so much. It's 25-16. You guys are going to need to go crazy. And again, I felt bad last week. Madam only played the tutorial of High Guard, and somebody had said, I believe it was JC, was like, man, I feel a little robbed. I'm not going to lie. You guys scrambled and went crazy on Saturday last week. We're going to have her play some more High Guard tomorrow if you guys can unlock the stream. I felt like we owed that to you, and so we will definitely do that. You don't need to hit stretch goals or anything. That's an IOU. The claims that the video has AI in it, I feel like people have corrected that already. It's not AI. They were explaining it. I didn't understand what it was. I didn't have time to fully research it, but I don't think it's AI. I think it's something else. I started playing Control on your recommendation. So far, I'm loving it. It really is a good game I missed out on. I am so glad to hear that. I'm so happy when I tell people about particular games, and I'm like, you really got to go back and play this one. I'm glad that people are doing that. It definitely deserves it. Did we do a live stream of Control? I feel like I wanted to do that, and I can't remember if we did or not. Yeah, we did. Control gameplay in 2026. Yeah, that didn't go the way I was hoping it would with like Returnal. Like Returnal, like everybody piled on the video and left comments and said they went back to it. That didn't happen with Control. I was kind of bummed because I wanted people to have the experience that you're having. It's definitely hard to watch, because it takes so long to get out. Crushing. Yeah, so what Haseo was saying, the market is very much that river. The gaming market is that river. You step in it and you step out of it and back in it, and it's different. The market's already different. It's 100% not AI. Yeah, I don't think it's AI. I didn't once get AI vibes from the trailer. I think people were quick to jump on that, which I totally get why you would. Because it looks like derivative, corporate, calculated slop. I know that's harsh, but it doesn't look good, y'all. Jeff comes in with 4 months. Thank you so much. Let me add it to the total. We're at 219. You hated the Control map, but a great game. Oh, the map was very bad at times. You just couldn't figure out where it wanted you to go. It would look like, I should be able to go through right here and go up some stairs. And it was like, no. There were some density issues with the map. Not map design. The map when you would look at it. It wasn't built to properly inform you sometimes. There were some times I got a little frustrated. I'm like, I can't tell where the frick you want me to go. It doesn't seem like that kind of game where you're like aimlessly running around trying to figure out where the door is, There were numerous times I was like, I can't figure out where to go. I looked up a guide and I'm like, it's literally this door right here on this ledge, and if you don't see it, you're just going to keep running around. They wanted you to explore. Multiple times I would explore, and I just couldn't frickin' find the thing that they wanted me to see. Multiple times. I was like, I walked past that door 18 times. It didn't happen that often. It's a wonderful game. That's a minor quibble, but it's definitely some frustration waiting for you in that game where you're like, where do I go? And you're like, oh, it's right here. It's right here. Guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. I appreciate the strong turnout today. Street Shadow says, I would go to say the cartoony art style is more popular than the online community would tell you. Fortnite, Genshin, ZZZ, that style sells. But does it though? For every Fortnite in Genshin and Zenless Zone Zero that you can put out there, Street, there's a handful, or there's more. I think there's more games that have tried than have failed. I think it creates immediate stigma. People are like, what? Why does it look like that? Those have built-in audience for gotcha slop. Right. Listen, that's why I've conceded multiple times. This thing could blow up in markets that we're just not considering. There is definitely a market for the mobile sort of hero artsy cartoony thing. I mean, we know it. Arkham Games comes in with the 5 bomb and gets us 1 away from the next milestone. Whoever hits this 225 gets a gifted member. And Purple has a bit of an advantage. So YouTube, you got to be aggressive if you want these milestones, because there's a little less latency over there on the Purple site. Where Winds Meet and Arc Knights recently released. Where Winds Meet doesn't look anything like this. Arc Knights, sure. But again, I feel like those are landing in markets that are very receptive to those kinds of games. I don't know if PlayStation has demonstrated that they have a big audience for that. Did Foam Stars go anywhere? I thought that it could. I don't think it did. I told people, I said, don't dismiss Foam Stars. This could blow up in the Asian market. It didn't. Banshee comes in with 11 months, says double dip for the win, and then Alex gifts 1, and Arkham gifts 1, and Mikey Bot gifts 1. It's boom, boom. It's 2 for Purple. They hit the milestone. Sorry, YouTube, you're a little too slow. And boom, boom, 2 more coming in from YouTube. We're at 228. And a 5 bomb comes in from Jack Garland. He was trying to secure it with more than enough, but it was a little too late. Let me go ahead and gift that 1 to Purple. YouTube, you guys keep getting beat to the punch today. When you guys see that chat popping from gifteds, dog pile on and help these guys hit these milestones. You guys keep missing them. Horizon Online game will probably do well in Asia. I think the MMO could do very well in China, especially because it's a mobile game. I'm not bothered by them trying the game, especially when their opening statement was they're still working on dedicated single player. Completely fair response, Street Shadow. It's a completely fair response for somebody to say, you know what? I'm not bothered. They're working on the next mainline Horizon game. This one's not for me. Maybe it'll be for somebody else. If that's your response to this game, I think that's 100% fair. My frustration is this is just sort of one more, in my opinion, one more misstep from a company that instead of saying something like, let's do something new and innovative, or let's partner with somebody who knows how to really make games like this, like they're doing with Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, instead of doing that, they're grabbing an IP that they know is very popular, and they're almost trying to force it. It's like, well, this let's do the Hero live service thing with Horizon. I think that's a mistreatment of the property. You can devalue the property. You can dilute the property if you do this. They want Horizon everywhere, it seems. Yes, I did try the Pragmata demo. I would encourage everybody to try the Pragmata demo. That combat is legit. It's very different feeling. It's very, your character's got like a heaviness. It's a weird juxtaposition of agility, but also weight, like the way you can kind of jump around and dash and stuff. So it's got a lot of weight and a lot of like bulkiness, clunkiness. It's clunky in the right ways, like it makes you feel like you're actually in this spacesuit. The combat's legit though. I was worried, as well as some of you guys, about like the mini game. You can do it without looking a lot of the times. You just get good at it. You can see it in your peripheral, and you know, like, you need to go down, down, left, right, up, down, and like you're just like you're like moving through the grid without even looking at it. It's really, really fun. My daughter would rather take Pragmata than that game. I wonder if Bungie had any input on this game getting the green light. Hard to know. It's been in development for so long. It's really hard to know. From a financial perspective, they're probably going to make the money back, right? From a financial perspective, I don't think there's a lot of risk here. I'll be honest with you. They're probably going to make the money back. Horizon's incredibly popular. Also, Monhun style games are incredibly popular. I think the game will probably be just fine. I don't know if it'll last, though. I don't know if in like 6 months it's going to be this thriving community. It just doesn't seem like that kind of game. It seems like a game that people... It's very disposable. It just feels very disposable. It feels like a mobile game. I wonder what the regional split is for Genshin players or any of those games. We also don't know if this game will be free to play. Likely not. No, it's a $40 game. Bet. I bet money it's a $40 game. PvE focused games like this are kind of proving you can come out and charge $40. You totally can, which is another reason why I think they'll make their money back. I think that the Horizon community is large enough that this game will likely do just fine. Not on the Switch. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about the Pragmata demo on Switch? I saw a tweet that somebody said the Pragmata demo on Switch was like holding its own against the PS5. And I'm like, bro, you got to stop. Like, guys, you got to stop. Stop overselling the Switch 2, okay? Nothing's going to run on the Switch 2 and be on par with PS5 unless it's like Brotato or something. You ain't running a game like that with that level of graphics, fidelity, movement. Just y'all need to quit, okay? The Switch 2 is not it's not holding its own with the PS5, boys, okay? You just got to stop. Frame rate alone. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, boys? What are we doing? Anyways, I watched the Direct since I missed yesterday, and every single one of those games looks like 480p. Yeah, I mean, if it's a third party game getting ported, yeah, the resolution and the frame rate's just not going to be there, boys. It's just not, and that's okay. That's not what they sold that device on. Surprise, surprise, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is getting an expansion. I thought the game is dropped. I don't think I ever saw anybody say that Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was dropped. I'm not sure what you mean. The guy must be legally blind. FPS dips and is blurry. It's kind of gotten to the point, Spice King, that I think people post pictures like that and takes like that quite literally knowing that, like, there's obvious rage bait, okay? We know when we see rage bait. You know, you see like a horrible car crash and the guy in the comments is like, I could have made that turn. And everybody gets mad and like rips into the guy. I think it's harder to detect when it seems like maybe somebody's just really, really not smart. You're like, is this person really, like, what? Like, but I think a lot of the times it's just somebody quite literally baiting. Like, they just want engagement. They know everybody's going to yell at them and tell them that Pragmata on the Switch doesn't look anything like how it does on PlayStation. And they just sit back and take the engagement. They love it. They'll go back and forth with you for the rest of the day being like, yeah, I don't know about you, man, but it looks the same to me. And you're like, oh my gosh, like, I just wouldn't waste your time. I wouldn't waste your time. I would laugh at them and move on. Little disappointed the Pragmata demo was only 15 minutes long. It is pretty short, Anthony. But the good thing about the demo is, if you were curious about the game, they answered the most pressing questions. How does movement feel? How is level design? How's performance? And how's the combat feel? I have all my questions answered. It ran great. It looked great. Combat felt great. I'm a little iffy on the kid on the back of the, you know, on the back of the character or whatever. I'm a little like, do we have to do this thing? Like, why? I don't know. Why are developers from that region in the world obsessed with like girls that are not adults? Like, it's like, and I know it's just like a bot or whatever, but it's like, why couldn't she just be a robot that looks like a robot? I don't know. There's just an awkwardness there from how that culture treats art. I'm just always like, what are y'all doing? Like, you know, these trailers come out for these games, and I'm like, why do their faces look like they're 12 and the rest of them don't? Like, what are we doing here? I know she's not a kid. She's a robot, but she looks like a freaking kid, bro. She sounds like a freaking kid. Like, come on. It's like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't like over baking that cake, but I'm like, there's just something unsettling about it. Like, what are we doing here? Just put a little robot back there. Probably has a dead daughter. I don't know. Maybe. I'm always a little iffy on that. You know? I'm always a little iffy on that. I'm like, why'd you do this? You know? You could have put anything in the game as a mechanism of, like, a robot helping you. Why does it have to be this? There's something about the voice intonation thing. There's something about the way their faces look and emote. And I'm just like, Come on, y'all. What are we doing here? $5 super chat from Arkham Knights. If a game's saying the release is slated for this year, but not a date yet, does that mean it's most likely going to get pushed? They're probably just worried about what GTA 6 is going to do to the calendar and all around it. Like, there's rings coming out. You know what I mean? There's like boom, there's GTA 6. And then there's like circles coming out from it of like who's going to land the closest and the furthest. That's probably why people aren't giving dates. I'm sorry for the off topic, but I have very good news. Just met some new friends. Will likely be helping them set up streaming soon, which I would then have access to use. Oh, that'd be dope. Join you for a roundtable properly from a streaming rig. Yeah. Get yourself a decent camera and microphone, man. Yeah, we're trying to do more content like that. Could be good. They're 100% going to kill her off to pull on the heartstrings. I don't mind a game that wants to put like a protective relationship in a game where like maybe you're helping a kid escape or maybe you're helping a kid, you know, not be kidnapped or something. Like having like a bond, like a relational familial bond, I think is totally fine. I get a little skeptical if the game comes from that region of the world, because it's an art thing that I think is many times really inappropriate. Like adults that don't look like adults, I feel like there's something very inappropriate about that. And so I'm always a little like, what are you doing here, man? Like, why does this character look like this? Please don't make this weird. Can we just... Yeah, Tilu's a great example of like a familial father-daughter, totally fine with that. As a dad, that's a total like vibe. You know what I mean? You can do it in a way where it's not weird. And I'm always, when I see a game like this, I'm like, please don't make this weird. Can you please don't make this weird. I'm begging you. Hunter Eats Hunter with a $5 super chat. Hey, Reforge, if Sony delays PlayStation 6, what do you think is the likelihood that Sony creates a console Linux hybrid if Steam Machine and Magnus succeed? The likelihood of PlayStation making something like that is like a 0%. I don't think they have any interest in that. It doesn't line up with any of their business interests. They're working with AMD and Project Amethyst to create their own power in the market. Do you know what I'm saying? You start by putting pants on the girl. I wasn't going to say it, Omar, but I'm like, why is she wearing any pants, man? Like, come on, y'all. Like, again, don't make this weird. Why do you got to make it weird? Put some freaking pants on her. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? The game is fun. I really liked it. But I was like, man, I hope y'all do not go in a weird direction with any of this, please. Like, their back and forth very much had like brother sister vibes, like sibling vibes. Like, it didn't feel like that was there at all. It was like, please don't do that. Frick. Like, why? I've seen so many game trailers, and I'm like, oh, this person's coming, you know, jiggle physicsing their way through the room, and then they have the face of a child, and I'm like, what the frick are you doing? Like, get out of here. Like, come on, man. If we're talking about the game, I think we are. I tried to warn y'all. I didn't experience anything in the game that would make me say, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy this. I thought it was fine. You know. Yeah. What game is this? Pragmata. There's a demo on all platforms you can play right now. Performance was good on the Pro. It's PS5 Pro Enhanced. Performance was good. Movement was good. Combat was good. It was. I'm just praying they don't get weird with it. I don't think Capcom would. I don't think that they would. A lot of like the games that go in that direction are, I don't think they're from like big mainline studios a lot of times. They're from like lesser known studios, or like maybe they're known for mobile games, you know. So that's why I'm saying, please don't make this weird. Let me just roll credits on this game and never feel like you guys went in a weird direction with this. And, you know, maybe put pants on the kid. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. Other than that, I thought the boss fight was super dope. I was like, this is going to be a fun game. The tutorial pop-ups got a little annoying. because I just wanted to kind of flow, but they have to teach you about a lot of the segments of the combat. That was the only thing about the demo that annoyed me, was there were a couple moments in the boss fight that I was like, oh, that was a really cool moment. Why didn't you just let me figure that out? Like, you get to a point where you hit right trigger because they've been, like, knocked down and they're vulnerable. And I literally saw the right trigger prompt. And I'm like, oh, sweet, I just got to do something here. What am I going to... And then a big thing pops up and is like, when a meter is filled and you can... I'm like, get the frick out of the way. It's intuitive enough. I know what to do next. Like, it'd be cool in the demo if some of those pop-ups would have happened, like, you know, before the fight. Like, just to let you know, this fight's going to feature some new mechanics. Once you do this, the boss is going to take a knee, and then you can hit right trigger and do a really big attack. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'll keep my eyes open for that. There's nothing worse than, like, I landed a bunch of big, huge shots and a bunch of great things, and then all of a sudden it's like, tick-a-boo, and it's like it pauses, and you're like, hey, what? Like, it's like, you can do this. And I'm like, I know I can do that. I'm looking at the screen. I can see it. Is anybody going to play Way of the Sword when it comes out? Onimusha Way of the Sword? Yeah, I feel like I'm going to try that one out. Unless it's going to be like a grueling, painful, really difficult, like, Souls game. I'm just not in the mood for those. Like, Neo 3 is not going to touch my console. I read all the reviews, and I'm like, y'all have fun, man. It's getting good scores. It's going to probably get some nominations or awards this year. I'm happy for y'all, but I'm going to sit this one out. This old man's going to sit this one out. Horizon Hunters is going to drop a W Battle Pass. Or going to drop with a Battle Pass. Yeah, for sure. The best thing I can say about Horizon Hunters Gathering certainly isn't the name. It's a freaking terrible name. Why wouldn't you just call it Horizon Hunters? That's a better name, like, almost undeniably better. Horizon Hunters sounds sick. Like, Horizon Hunters Gathering? It's like, what? Why did you call it that? It doesn't roll off the tongue at all. I watched SkillUp's video this morning, and he said the name almost like mocking how awkward it is to say it. Horizon Hunters Gathering. It's like, it doesn't roll off the tongue at all. It sounds weird, if I'm honest. Horizon Hunters would be dope, but the gathering part, I'm like, what? Did you see they're saying April for 2.0 Starfield? I've seen enough videos to know that it doesn't sound like it's going to be that tectonic. It doesn't sound like it's going to be enough to really change people's minds. Like, if you were kind of iffy on the game, like, I don't think PlayStation users are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is transformative. I think it'll likely be, like, fine, but I don't think people are going to feel like, oh my gosh, this is a huge moment for the game. This is a Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty moment. I don't think so. From what we're hearing, no. If you play, it's a play on the term hunter gatherer. Okay. Well, I tell you what, when I name a video game, or I try to remember the name of video games, a little bit of wordplay goes a long way, right? I don't know. They certainly have a history of naming their games a bit of a mouthful. I mean, I will say that. Guerrilla is like, well, our last game was called Killzone, right? Let's make our next game Horizon Zero Dawn. You're like, oh, that's a lot of words. Just wait until we tell you the name of the sequel. Horizon Forbidden West. What's the third game going to be called? Horizon Sanctuary of the Masses. And you're like, oh, it's just getting longer every time. Like, it's like they They certainly have displayed that they like to really put them words in there that are not quick and easy to say. They went from Killzone to like Horizon Hunters Gathering. It's like, oh, okay. At least they didn't name it Horizon Denied East. Oh gosh. It's just not a good name. I'll be honest. It's just not a good name. It doesn't roll off the tongue, You think about games that like have those simple names and Arc Raiders, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, Valorant. There's something to be said about that. Helldivers 2. There's something to be said about a simple name especially if you're wanting like that sort of like broad market appeal and popularity. There's something about a simple name. There really, really is. Like, I tell you, one of the things that hurt Immortals Phoenix Rising is that incredibly stupid name. They went from Gods and Monsters, which sounds frickin' sick. If they wouldn't have been sued and they called it Gods and Monsters, I bet you we'd be looking at a Gods and Monsters 2 trailer right now. I believe it. To this day, I believe that the reception of that game and the popularity of that game got absolutely murdered by the name change. Like, Gods and Monsters sounds sick. That sounds dope. Like, yeah, let's play it. And they're like, yeah, we got sued by Monster Energy Drink, which doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. Like, how can you possibly claim any sort of claim on the word monster? Ridiculous. Especially in video game world. You named it Immortals Phoenix Rising. Huh? I don't know what you're doing there. Phoenix was a great game. Just thought it was way too long. It was a little dense for its own good. Yeah. I never finished it. It just got really dense, and I was like, yeah, I've had enough. I've thought about going back and playing it again, but I just think it lacks a combat density to keep me interested. It just gets very repetitious within the combat. I ran into the similar problem with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's like, yeah, this is a really dense game. There's so much content and so much to do, and let me tell you, you gotta have more to the combat than that if you want me to go the distance with your game, because that one really, really lacked it, big time. I just don't like the idea of playing pre-made characters. Here's the problem with pre-made characters, okay? And I really, really haven't thought about this until just now, but I do think there is a distinct difference between... So what we're talking about is we're talking about Horizon Hunters Gathering, and I'm very much negative on the game now. Like, yesterday, I was being more measured. Now I'm like, nah, I think this looks bad. So here's the deal. When you play Marvel Rivals, or you play Overwatch, or you play Valorant, or even Apex, you're picking a character that has a particular role, a particular strength set, a particular counter to what other players are going to be doing. Right? When you do a character like Hero in a game like Horizon Hunters Gathering, you're not countering another person. You're not like establishing your ability to like have strength and like a touch, like an interplay and like a back and forth in a PvP match. You're hunting monsters. So what you're really doing is you're picking like an ability set, is essentially what you're doing. You're picking something that to you is like, oh, this will really help me. We're going to go to a place that's cold or a place that's hot, or we're going to fight this beast that has like this purple attack, or this beast has like this yellow attack, and this character has this certain move or this certain agility set or what have you, and that's going to like, help me. The problem there is the minute you're in a PvE setting, choosing abilities and skills and things of that nature are usually in the context of a game where it's got just enough RPG sprinkled into it that like you feel like you're kind of building your own character. You feel like you're kind of like speccing out like what you want to do when you're going to go fight a dragon or something. It's different in a hero game, like a hero shooter, like a hero PvP game, because you're viewing it more as a chessboard. It's not as personal. You're like, oh, I'm going to leverage this bishop against that rook over there. Does that make sense? It's more of a chessboard. There's more of that back and forth. That doesn't exist nearly as much when you're playing a game like this, because it's far more adjacent to like a single player RPG or like an action RPG, where like you're building your character in the way that like suits your style or your preferences, or, you know, the content that you're about to go engage with. That's why I think having it be heroes in the Horizon game, I think is a mistake. I don't think that was a good choice. It's like, if it was, especially given the amount of customization, there's practically limitless customization in the world of Horizon because of all the different armor pieces and how the armor pieces can quite literally be ripped from the machines. I don't know why you would shrink down player choice to, yeah, you can play as this guy or this girl. Guerrilla said they don't want to give up on single player games. I know that. I'm not worried about that. I'm talking about why people look at Horizon Hunters Gathering and they find the heroes unappealing. I'm trying to explain why I think people find that unappealing. I'm not sitting here expressing concern or worry that like Guerrilla's going to move away from doing single player games. I'm not worried about that at all. They made it very clear way back when they announced multiple projects that they were still committed to doing single player games. They were still committed to maintaining, you know, the next mainline Horizon game. Is Hunter's Gathering supposed to be a bridge between Forbidden West and Horizon 3? Is this going to have a bunch of lore? They did say it's going to have a campaign. They did say it's going to have story, and it is canon. They said all those things. So it will have a campaign. It is canon. So maybe. Because essentially the setup of the game is that Aloy puts Aaron in charge of like getting all these people to go out and fight against the machines. He's like organizing basically like a group. That is essentially the premise of the game. I don't know if that's going to be a go-between or like a bridge between. I'm interested in the game because I want to have some fun. I have nothing wrong. I'm not opposed to people getting the game and having fun. I think it's a bad use of the IP. I think it's worrying. I'm not doing a sky is falling here. I'm not dooming, okay? But I think it's worrying when a company is willing to take their really, really big and popular IP and use it in this way. They've got NCSoft making a mobile MMO out of Horizon. Guerrilla's making what feels like a very derivative hero live service game in the Horizon universe. And then we know there's the third mainline Horizon game coming. I get worried when I see a corporation start to act like that, because it's like, these pieces of property are super important. I mean, just yesterday, we were debating, because I told people, I was like, I think I could see PlayStation 4 games land on the Switch 2. I could see them putting like Spider-Man 1 or Horizon Zero Dawn on the Switch 2. And the reason I think I could see them doing that is because you're basically dealing with zero competition or cross-buy purchases for people. Like, I don't think people are like comparing the two. Well, when we were having that debate, people got super, super wound up and protective because they were like, these IPs are important. These games are important. They're part of the brand identity. I have no disagreement with that whatsoever. I think that is correct. Right? Phenomena says there's 400 people in chat and only 160 likes. He's calling you guys out on that like count, y'all. Try to get it to 200. I appreciate it. That's true. I don't know if Night Rain was... I tell you what helped Night Rain, though. Night Rain looks like Elden Ring. Like, people are willing to forego certain things that might be their preferences if the game really appeals to them. So, like, if a game looks a certain way and appeals to you, you'll probably overlook certain things because you're like, yeah, this game's kind of my jam. Elden Ring Night Rain looks like Elden Ring. Do you think Elden Ring Night Rain would have been popular if it came out and looked like this? Like some cartoony Pixar Fortnite mobile game? I don't think so. I think people have been like, what the frick are you guys smoking over there? Also, Elden Ring Night Rain is a bit of an indictment. It's like, hey, don't tell me that it's like easier to add content to these live service games when you make them look like this. I know that's true, but I mean, you could have clearly kept the art style similar. I mean, they managed to do it. Now, especially with Decima. Don't sit here and tell me that Decima's not got good agility and that you couldn't have made this game. Again, it doesn't need to look insanely photorealistic. I don't need ray tracing in my ongoing game. I don't need ray tracing in my multiplayer game. You honestly don't think the game looks fun? No, it looks like derivative, repetitious content that I've seen in another game called Dauntless. I'm serious. I don't think Horizon Horizon Gathering, from what they showed, it doesn't bring anything to the table that looks compelling, new, or interesting to me. It looks like a derivative, like game with no soul. It's Horizon in name only, and the content loop looks incredibly boring. It's like, yeah, I know, Dauntless already tried this. Yeah, you're going to go find a Mon and you're going to hit him a bunch. Your cycles are you're going to cycle through abilities that are on cooldowns. You're going to use those abilities. Eventually a piece is going to pop off or the thing is going to die. You're going to pick up the loot. You're going to go back to the base. It's not a living, breathing world. It isn't. It's not a living, breathing world. It's very much like go to location, go to quest marker, go to thing, do thing, come back, right? That neutered, boring, like mission-based like loop. You come back. You turn some of those pieces in, maybe buy new armor, make your character look slightly different, and go do it again. It's uninspired, derivative, just shallow nothing. It's like there's so many games that have tried to do this sort of thing. It doesn't work because there's nothing behind it other than we saw another game that was really popular, so we tried to do the same thing. The trailer was not made with AI. Somebody already asked about that. Other people have already said that they don't think it was made with AI. They're like already kind of retracting. And they're like, apparently there's oddities in the trailer, but it's not because of AI. It's like some kind of a frame smearing thing or something. I don't know what people were saying. Why play this when you can go play Monster Hunter? It doesn't even really look like Monster Hunter, though. It looks like a very arcadish, like, stripped-down version of, like, a Monster Hunter. Hunter's Gathering's going to be another high guard. Yeah, it looks completely void of new ideas. It looks completely void of anything fresh and new. It just looks derivative. It's literally they sat in a room. I'm not kidding you. They sat in a room and somebody said, let's take the Horizon universe and let's do a hero live service game with it. That's literally what it is. Like, imagine you're not a fan of Horizon. Picture a game that you're not a fan of doing this. What would you think? Would it be compelling to you? Like, remove any baked-in fandom that you have. Just remove it. I don't think you would be like, yeah, that looks really good. You'd be like, that looks like 10 other games that have come out in the last 5 years that are already dead and gone. I don't mind the visuals, but as soon as I saw it had Dauntless gameplay, I lost all interest. I love the Horizon franchise, and I was very excited to see what this game was all about. I can honestly say I have zero interest now. Waiting for Horizon 3, I guess. If you guys are interested, you just have to leave space for the rest of us that are like, I think this looks incredibly, like, uninteresting. It's a shame Guerrilla Games had to waste their time on this. Sony is throwing live service at the wall to see if something sticks. I'm going to continue to give them credit where credit is due. Okay? I'm going to continue to give credit where credit is due. They are letting us see it very early. They're allowing people to play it early. They brought in content creators to play it early and provide feedback. That could help them significantly. It really could. It really could. I have consistently said this about live service games, so I have to give them praise for this. It's like, I have said for a very long time that if you want something like this to come out and do well, you've got to let the public play it. You've got to let feedback come into the room very early on so that you can avoid pitfalls and mistakes. My man Grady with 33 months. This is a gifted, and I will once again buy my own membership once this is over with. Keep up the great work. Not really looking forward to this one. Thank you so much, Grady. I appreciate that. Guys, check your renewals. Check your primes. We need about 150 members today to unlock tomorrow night with Madam. And we will give you some more high guard gameplay with Madam tomorrow. And keep hitting the like button if you haven't already. We only need 14 more likes to 200. Y'all are the best. Thanks so much. Everybody, if you've already hit like, thank you for doing that. I would have much preferred a Ratchet and Clank live service game like this. At least the art style would match better. I'm blown away by the weird decision making over there. Zubair says, that's how you do live service. It's a volume game. You can't predict success. They want a Helldivers or Arc Raiders, and they can't predict it, nor can we. Horizon's like 50% graphics, 40% gameplay, 10% story. This is 0% graphics, 20% gameplay, 2% story. Where is the remaining 78%? The same game with Horizon Forbidden West would have been much better. It's on them. Their art style is terrible. They have Decima Engine and they produce this. Right? This is the danger of doing a really good job. They did a really good job with Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. They did. They did a really good job. And then this comes out and it's like, why does it look like that? Like, they had to know that people were going to trip up on the art style. Yo, Joker Quinn bumps the line to 234. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. They had to know people were going to trip up on the art style. It's a huge departure. It's landing adjacent to so many games that look like this now. It's like I can't even list them all. I just keep thinking of like Wayfinder and High Guard. Those two are the only ones I can think of, but I know there's a ton more. I just can't remember their names because they're already forgotten as games. It's not made by Guerrilla. What's not made by Guerrilla? The MMO by NCSoft is not made by Guerrilla. This is 100% made by Guerrilla. Does the art style make the game easier to run? There are people that have said that. They're like, and Behemoth comes in with a 10 bomb and bumps the line to 244. Very generous, Behemoth. We're 6 away from the next milestone. Every 25, I owe you guys a member. And whoever hits it gets it. Whoever hits it gets it. Like, I'm going to show you guys something. You guys ready? Hang on a second. All right, here we go. This is brand new footage. I'm just kidding. No, it's not. This is called Dauntless. Here's Dauntless. It looks like Wayfinders. It looks like High Guard. Like that. It's you know what it is? It's like Pixar Yu-Gi-Oh. Right? That's what it all looks like. Am I thinking of the right game? Is it Yu-Gi-Oh that has like all the creatures and stuff that everybody has like sharp edges and spikes on them? Isn't that Yu-Gi-Oh? Or am I thinking of the wrong thing? I think I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I don't think it's Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, it's not Yu-Gi-Oh. What am I thinking of? There's like a creature game where they had like amiibos and stuff. What the frick is it called? Yeah, the little guys that you could buy. Is it Digimon? No, there was another one. There was one that had like amiibos. It's not Digimon. There was one that had amiibos and Skylanders. Thank you so much. That's I think what I'm looking at. That's what I'm thinking of. I think I'm looking of Skylanders. That's exactly what these games look like. They look like frickin' Pixar Skylanders. That's what it makes me think of. The creatures all look like this like generic cartoony like I don't know. I can't unsee it. That's what it makes me think of. It's like if Pixar did a Skylanders movie or something and they made all the creatures look a certain way. Like, I don't know. That's just what I end up seeing. Skylanders might not be the best example. Yeah, not Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know why I was thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a creature game like Pokemon. Maybe it's not even Skylanders. I don't think it's Digimon. I mean, it kind of is Digimon. It's literally like, it's like if Pixar decided to do like a Digimon, Pokemon, Skylanders type movie, that's what all these games look like. Dauntless looks like it. Highguard looks like it. Horizon Hunters Gathering looks like it. Light of Motirum didn't shut down. They did a settlement with PlayStation. And the likelihood of that game seeing the light of day is very... If they're going to bring Light of Motirum to the market, they're going to have to completely change what it looks like. They basically... I mean, the paper trail was undeniable. As soon as the paper trail came out, that they had approached PlayStation twice, pitched the game twice, were told no twice, made the game anyway, and shipped the game anyway, there was no way... There was absolutely no way that they were going to win that lawsuit. It was like, no, you're cooked. You're absolutely cooked. No Digimon slander. Yeah. I'm not slandering Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh! or Skylanders or any of that. What I'm saying is that's what it feels like. It feels like Pixar decided to make their own monster game. Their own catch-em-all game. It's like Pixar said, yeah... You know, Digimon and Pokemon and Skylanders, they're all really, really popular. Let's make a movie with monsters like that. That's what Dauntless looks like. That's what Wayfinders looks like. That's what Highguard looks like. And that's what Horizon Hunters Gathering looks like. Yeah, the Light of Motirum was a... The reason it looked like a Horizon clone is because it literally was. They quite literally approached Sony twice and said, we would like to make a Horizon game. And Sony said no, twice. And they were like, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and ignore you and do it anyway. And a renewal comes in from Rory, getting us to 445. YouTube. This is your time to shine, all right? It's a 5-bomb away from 250. You guys have let Twitch steal it twice today already. You're at a bit of a disadvantage because of the stream delay. So you got to keep an eye on this thing over here, okay? Twitch going to steal it again. Disney Pixar already created a figure game with Disney Infinity. Well, yeah, you're getting into the specifics of the example. What I'm saying is the reason the art style looks so bad is because it literally just feels like something generic. It's like if Pixar said, hey, Pokemon and Digimon and Skylanders, like these monster catcher, properties are really popular. Let's make a TV show in Pixar style. That's what these games all look like to me. There's a thing every developer does, says AOZ. They like to develop things they've never done, including stylization. They like to prove they can do it. Don't make it sound like SIE went in and art directed. This is the response to some other comments. Yes, I said this morning, AOZ, and this is going to sound interesting, but I said, don't take the human element out of the developer. I believe there are two types of desire. A developer desires to make something because it's its original idea and they think it's amazing and they want to bring it to light. They want to bring it to light. I also think there's desire at developers to make something popular. And I think a bunch of developers and a bunch of executives at those developers, I think they looked at Fortnite and they said, we could do that too. We could do that. They built Fortnite in a cave with a box of scraps. We can build something better. We're far bigger, have more bandwidth. We've got a great engine. I think Naughty Dog did it. I think Guerrilla did it. I think they looked in 2021, 2022, and they said we could do something like that. That's what I think these games were born out of. And this is why I said don't take the human element out of development. They're humans just like the rest of us. When you see somebody who's super popular, super wealthy, making tons of money, there's a part of you that thinks, man, I could do that, or I wish I could do that. I wish I was that successful. I think developers do that. I think they look at very successful games and think, man, it'd be great if we could have a game like that. It'd be great if we could have a big, giant player base like that. Well, guess what? That's what I believe these games were born out of. That's why they feel hollow. That's why they feel uninspired. That's why they feel derivative. They're not driven by some like passion to be like, oh my gosh, this is such original idea. No, it's opportunism 101. This is what people are liking and it's very popular. Let's make it. Yo, Scratch Versace with 18 months of memberships. Will you stream GTA 6 at all? Yes, I will. Also, what's your opinion on age to play? What's too young in your opinion, if you don't mind me asking? Based on everything I've seen in GTA 6, adults should play it and children should not. I don't think children should be exposed to that level of violence and debauchery. I think there's psychological evidence for this. I believe there is moral, impetus to protect children from being exposed to categories of things that they don't really understand. I believe it's abusive to expose children to things like that they should not see. Yeah, and I don't think that's a hot take. I think anybody who's studied childhood development and psychology would agree with me. Like, there's science to back what I'm saying. Children should not be exposed to debaucherous behavior or violence or, things that you're going to see in GTA 6. I believe it's abusive to expose children to that. I do. I believe you are abusing their mind and their development. So the game should be rated mature. And I think any good-thinking parent or adult should prevent their child from seeing it or playing it. If you feel judged by that, you should. I don't think you should be exposing children to these types of things. This feels very, not even based. This feels like common sense. So, I don't know. Let me add you to the total. Thank you so much for renewing, by the way, Scratch Versace. Thanks for 18 months. I appreciate it. I was just asking. Hadn't seen GTA until like 5th or 6th grade. I remember it being insane to me. They're so realistic now, Scratch Versace. Like, it'd be one thing to go back and, like, when my daughter plays, like, GoldenEye, I'm not like, oh, no, she's being exposed to, like, violence. It's, like, so blocky, cartoony, silly. Games are too realistic now. That veil is fallen. It looks like real life. They look like real people. So, I think back in the GoldenEye era, you could argue there was a clear separation of reality. It was like, this isn't like letting your child watch Saving Private Ryan, right? Like, Saving Private Ryan is so disturbing and violent and scary. GoldenEye is obviously not real and cartoonish and blocky. Like, I believe there's like this chasm where, like, it wasn't a big deal if like a 14-year-old was playing GoldenEye or a 12-year-old was playing GoldenEye. That ain't the same as what we're seeing today. GTA 6 looks like real life, real people with twerking on cars and strip joints and shootouts and death. No, absolutely not. The children shouldn't be seeing these types of things. The minute that video games landed in this category of being like a literal movie, you're talking about a completely different scenario of exposure of like what their brain should and shouldn't see. So, yeah. I think we're just in a different time because the games are just so realistic. You go back and let a kid play a game where everything's pixels. I still think they shouldn't be exposed to it, but the harm is probably not even remotely the same. If like a little pixel character goes into a room and is like, I'm here for the drugs, bam, and he like shoots the guy or whatever, and it's like pixels. I still don't think they should be exposed to that. I think that's it's planting seeds of themes and ideas that they don't really have good categories for yet, which can be very untethering and damaging. But once it looks realistic, now we're in a different category. So there's storytelling elements, there's theme elements that I don't think they should be exposed to. Like, sure, I could read a book to my kids and they're not seeing anything, but if I'm reading them like an X-rated novel, that I would say that is abuse to do that, to expose their developing young minds to that level of information in categories that they don't quite understand. That is harmful to them. I'm actively harming them. So even old video games could have themes and elements that children should not be exposed to. The level of severity is not the same, though. Playing like an old pixel art game that's talking about drug dealing and shooting, and they let you do it in the game, doesn't have the same impact that GTA 6 will have, because GTA 6 looks like real world. It looks like real people. I still think in both scenarios it's not appropriate and wrong, but the severity now is way higher if you let a kid play a game like that. It's way higher. It didn't harm me. I think it's a very good point I hadn't considered, really. When I was a kid, it was way less damaging potentially since it was not reality bending, like Red Dead Redemption 2's gore or GTA 6. Yes, I still think categorically that's harmful for a young mind to be exposed to that. Violent themes, criminal activity, uncouth language, those types of categories, children shouldn't be exposed to that. They don't understand it yet. Like if you like read a novel to your kids and they're like 10 and 12 and it's ridiculously violent and there's like adult, there's like sexual themes and stuff. No, that is very harmful. They should not be exposed to that. The severity's way higher if you like let them watch Saw or Game of Thrones or something. Reading the novel to them is harmful. The severity of the harm goes up when it's visual because of the way our brains are wired. You can't like unsee it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a random off-topic question, but that's my answer. Mind's Eye co-CEO has alleged in an internal meeting that the company has caught those who sabotaged its game. They allege that there was a 1 million euro was spent sabotaging the game. Sure, I bet. I'm 35. I was slowly introduced to mature games, and it wasn't until I was about 15 that I was able to play most shooters. I always tell people how I saw RoboCop in the theater when I was 9. The 80s weren't very good at telling people how violent movies were. Oh, for sure. So you think Kiln is looking for a Fortnite level of player base? I don't think that every live service game aims to be Fortnite. If you're talking to me, Corey, I don't think any of these studios were delusional enough to think they would have a Fortnite level of success. What I think they thought was, if they can do it with such a small amount of bandwidth and make that much money, we can throw way more bandwidth and talent at this, and we only need a percentage of their success to make good money. Does that make sense? You don't need Fortnite levels of success to make good money. You need like a fraction of their success to make good money. I don't think any of these studios were delusional enough to think they were going to build the next Fortnite. I think they were saying, that's a trend in the market. We just need a percentage of that. That's the way I view it. I'm not saying that they're chasing Fortnite success. They're chasing the trend in the market that could then give them success, if that makes sense. The success of Fortnite is more about what it speaks to consumer behavior, and they're like, oh, we could tap into that. I appreciate the insight. I'm sorry for derailing the conversation. My mom took away San Andreas and Vice City and made me give them back, but I did get Bully when it released and it was rated T. Something you have to understand about, and this is why a lot of the conversations in the culture right now, the reason it gets the most contentious about children is because anybody who has children themselves, or maybe they have like a niece or a nephew, or just friends that have children and you're around them, there's something inside of you that turns, that activates, right? It turns in your brain. You're like, oh, I need to protect this little being, this little baby, this little child. I would rescue them from a burning building. I would stand in front of them if there was somebody, trying to do them harm. And so I think when that happens, that's why it becomes so contentious, because there's something instinctive in us. There's something almost animalistic in us that says, you will not harm this little being. You won't do it. I will make sure that you don't. And when that activates in you, it's going to create all kinds of, strong feelings and strongly worded opinions. So when it comes to this sort of thing, I really do think like parents and guardians and those given charge over children really need to consider the impact of what it is that they're being exposed to. You really need to consider it. You do. And there's layers. There's total layers to this. There's the bottom layer of should kids under the age of 16 have extensive amounts of screen time. Science would say no. So I believe there's an impetus on adults and guardians there's an impetus on parents and guardians to limit that screen time. I do. I believe once you have that information and data, I believe there's an imperative on you to limit their screen time. I'm not judging you. I'm just giving you the facts. Balls and strikes here, okay? Once you know that, you should limit it. You know right now your kid can't live off of candy bars and soda pop. And if that's all you fed them, people would say that that's ridiculous. They would say, you know better. You shouldn't do that. I believe screen time has now elevated to that thing. You know they shouldn't be doing it. You know you should limit it. There is an imperative on you to limit it. I believe that. If you walked into somebody's home and that's all they ever fed their kids, they're like, yeah, come on in. My kid's having a Snickers and a soda and jelly beans for dinner. And you'd be like, what? Is this like a special occasion? No, they have this every day. You'd be like, okay, that's ridiculous. That's harmful to them. I think screen time is in the same category now because we know the science behind it. So that's layer one. Layer two is content. So number one is just like rhythmic exposure, like how often they do it. Then there's the content. Once you get in that category, again, you're not ignorant. You know that they shouldn't be seeing and watching some of those things, and if you let them see it, I believe it's negligence at best, and it's abuse at worst. Like, you should not be letting them see these things. You should be protecting them. Their brains are so they're like little sponges, you know. So I think there's layers to this, that at this point it's no longer, I don't think you can shrug and say, yeah, nobody really knows or we're not informed enough. No, everybody's properly informed, and if you're not doing your due diligence to protect them, I think it's reprehensible. So nobody's perfect. Everybody does their best, single parents especially. You know, I feel for you. You gotta sometimes just plop them in front of a movie so you can take a dadgum shower. I totally get that, but you gotta do your best to limit it. You can't just give them untethered freedom in these categories. It's very dangerous. Caffeine Cowboy with 4 months. Thank you so much. Bumping the line to 247. I appreciate that. You can't completely take it away. My kids are around me. Yeah, you can't completely take it away, Jakob. Listen, if you're doing your best as a parent, that's all that anybody can ask of you. You know what I mean? If you're trying to make sure they don't watch too much, see too much, get exposed to too much, you know what I mean? God bless you in that effort. That's not easy, especially if you're a single parent. I don't know how. These are like the unseen warriors in our culture, man. I don't know how the frick you do it. I just don't. And if you feel like you got to lean on these things sometimes to make it through the day, again, man, God bless you in that. That's friggin' difficult, but, you know, you gotta protect them as best you can, you know? Dangerous stuff out there. How many terrible games that come out are now going to be the excuse of in-house sabotaging a game? Right, yeah. When's the next Mind's Eye going to come out and claim they were externally sabotaged? I don't know what got in the water over there at the studio at Mind's Eye, man, but they are some delusional folks, dude. You made a piece of crap, sorry. You brought it to the market before it was ready. There's no excuse for that. Nobody's externally sabotaging your game when your trailer is obviously misleading. It's obviously misleading. Your game comes out, it's not ready, it's not optimized, it's a buggy, glitchy pile of crap that people deserve refunds on. And you want to come out and claim you were sabotaged? Man, shut the frick up. Like, I want that studio to shut up. Stop talking. Nobody wants to hear from you. You weren't sabotaged. Nobody did anything to you. You deliberately brought something to the market that you knew wasn't ready, and you sold it to people, and you want to claim victim. Man, shut up. I'm so sick of that studio. I am sick of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of studios like Team Kill Media, who made Code Violet. Man, just be quiet and get the frick out of the industry. You're a bunch of scam artists. Stealing people's money, basically. I just got a YouTube notification for a morning coffee from a month ago. What is going on? Like 5 to 6 notifications came through for old content across multiple channels. It's possible they're clearing things out. They're probably trying to make changes. Because that's why we stopped doing it, Mikey, because you would open up YouTube and be like, oh, what's Lono doing today? And it would be like morning coffee. And I'd be sitting here doing a live show. That's why we stopped doing it. So maybe they're trying to push out a fix and it's just a ghost in the machine, like they're flushing through the system and you're getting all these noties. Somebody put it in Discord yesterday that they all of a sudden their homepage had members content for some channel from like 9 months ago. So maybe they're trying to recalibrate it and fix it. I don't know. It's quite literally why we stopped. We had no control over it, and it was upsetting to you guys. It was frustrating for the user. It's like, I don't want to frustrate you. We're just trying to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, we're just trying to have fun. I don't want you mad and annoyed. Like, man, this is all this guy does is hit my noties with morning coffee. So, and you guys have responded very positively to it. You guys have seemingly continue to support and continue to show up in the Discord for Green Room. So that's the plan for this, for the foreseeable future. You're always on my front page. Yeah, we've seemingly, rectified some of those issues for sure. It's weird. Something's happening. It's been down at my work for the last few days. They made some back-end networking changes too. Yeah. They pushed out some changes. They usually do it in January. It seems like as soon as we rolled over into February, they did something. I don't know what they did, but yeah, I'm not going to read that. I appreciate the $5, though. Thank you so much, Mr. Suede. If you're going to invoke that kind of nonsense in a super chat, I'm just not going to read it, my friend. Sorry about that. Did you ever did something in January? Oh, we had a perfectly great January. We did. I'm looking at things. I'm like, I think they did something else as soon as February 1st hit. I can't quite tell what it is just yet. So... Tube streaming from a viewer has been a bit glitchy off and on this week. We haven't had any complaints about that. So, we shall see. We shall see. So, we spent a good portion of time talking about Horizon Hunters Gathering. You guys know what I think. We don't need to keep belaboring the point. I think the art style in the gameplay and the hero focus is absolutely derivative, and I don't think it's going to do well unless they can make significant changes, and maybe they can. They're receiving feedback. Props to them for letting people see it and play it early. That is the only way a game like this is going to be, not the only way, it's probably the single best way to try to be successful in this current landscape, okay? It's probably the best way. So we don't need to keep, belaboring that point. I do think it's interesting, and that's why I put on the thumbnail today, I put this on the thumbnail. Bad timing. So PlayStation had, by all accounts, they had a great week. They got to walk out and talk about like, hey, we hit a record new MAU, 132 million users. And Ghost of Yotei didn't just sell well, it did better than its predecessor. And we outsold the Nintendo Switch 2, in the US. Last quarter. We're doing great. And they're like, we're going to step on this rake, though. Winged Wheel with the 5 bomb gets us to 250. Man, that was sitting there for a while. I owe YouTube a member. Thank you so much, Winged Wheel. You guys are gonna have to make a bit of a mad dash if you want to get that to 400 to unlock tomorrow night. We did lower the goal because I did take Wednesday off, and that's not your fault. That is not your fault. You just saw my shirt. This is one of the best TV shows ever created, man. I appreciate that. I love it. It's amazing. I think it's one of the most influential pieces of media in existence. But yeah, I feel like they stepped on a bit of a rake here. They were like, we look really good. Internally, they're like celebrating how much money they made from like Helldivers 2 and MLB The Show. And then they walk out a video that right now is closing in on 500,000 views. It's number 25 on trending. And that like ratio ain't so good, boys. 37,000 downvotes. I feel like that's a bit of a rake step. Let's read the comments. Guerrilla team, please blink if you are in danger. Please blink if you're in danger. Concord trilogy before GTA 6 is crazy work. The bravest thing about this trailer is leaving the comment section open. Horizon Forbidden Purchase. Art style looks like a cereal commercial for Horizon Puffs. Listen, YouTube comments are delivering. I didn't pre-read these. These are wonderful. These are so good. Mad props to the people who left these. These are excellent comments, all right? I can't believe we're at Concord 4 already. Crazy times. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? This game is still very much in development, so stop. Stop developing it. It's not too late. Killzone locked in the studio basement. Release me. Everyone out here be smirking like a DreamWorks character. Oh, everything is going concording to plan. Oh, come on, man. That's good. That's very good. So it's not going very well for them, boys. It's a bit of a rake step. They couldn't just have this be a solid week, you know? It couldn't. Like, we have great earnings reports, and our Yotei sold well. Our console sold well. And, well, hello. I mean, come on. What do we... I just... I said it this morning. I know they want to chase that live service dollar. I know there's live service money to be made. I do. I totally get it. Okay? I totally get it. But at the same time, what I said this morning is this. I know you got to break eggs to make an omelet. I know that you've got to do that. It doesn't sound like they're breaking eggs to make omelets. Like, okay, let's try to crack this open and get an idea. You know, let's really cook here. Let's really bake. It literally feels like they're taking eggs and like throwing them at the wall. And they're like, it might splash off the wall and land in the pan and then we'll have an omelet. It's like you're just hoping something sticks, hoping something makes it. I don't know. Marathon had the same. Now look at it now. People were really appealing the latest play test. You know the biggest problem with Marathon now, Snake, is that most people aren't paying attention to it. It's not that they didn't make improvements. They did make improvements. They did. They listened to player feedback. Mad props. Look at the viewership of their trailers and videos. Interest is very low compared to where it was. People just moved on. Nobody's paying... Not nobody. A much smaller group of people is paying attention to Marathon. That's not a good runway for your game launching. Same thing's going to happen with Horizon Hunter's Gathering. Write it down. You just blew your first impression. I mean, you blew it. You blew it. So unless you have a trailer come out in 6 months to a year that looks completely transformative as far as art style and gameplay goes, you know what most people are going to say? I ain't paying attention to that freaking game. I don't care if they made improvements. Who cares? Oh, they let us customize our character now? Yeah, I don't care. Like... You blew your first impression. People are just going to move on. That's your biggest challenge with a game like this. Now, that doesn't mean it can't be successful. Like I said, there could be regions of the world that find this sort of art style and gameplay appealing. And, you know, the Redditor, YouTube comment, Twitter world is a small slice of the gaming environment. But I have to tell you, we're also a bit of a barometer of what will do well and what won't. We are. Not always, because people can brigade. There were people that like brigaded against AC Shadows and Ghost of Yotei, and they both reported commercial success. So it's not always a guarantee. That's why I use the word barometer. Like, we're a barometer. It's like, yeah, people are very much turning their nose up to this. They don't like this. Does that mean it'll automatically fail? No, it increases the likelihood of failure. It doesn't guarantee automatic failure. Herman didn't learn anything from Concord. Do you want to know what I think is allowing this game to come to market? Do you want to know why they're doing a beta test? They're letting people play it? 2 reasons. They're confident in the Horizon IP, and they don't want to repeat the same mistake. If this goes into beta testing, and a year from now, they just can't get good feedback and a guaranteed trajectory or projection, I wouldn't be surprised if they shelved the whole dadgum thing. Like, this right here is how you mitigate risk. If they spend a year receiving feedback, they could be like, nope, this thing's going nowhere. Or they could spend a year putting in the feedback, making the changes, making the revisions, and then it could make the money off the Horizon name alone. Horizon's a very popular franchise. It could make the money back just from curious fans of Monster Hunter who are like, well, $40 ain't that bad. I'll try it out. Like, they could easily make the money back and not have it be a total loss. Like, this doesn't look like a game that's automatically going to flop and fail because they have time to improve it. They're going to take that feedback, and it's attached to a very big IP. That still doesn't mean that they don't turn around in 12 months and say, yeah, we just can't get this thing to where it needs to be based off of feedback and the beta test. We got to cancel it. Because I'm here to tell you, this is their response to what happened with Concord. This 100% is a course correction. They're like, okay, I tell you what, Concord blew up in our faces. We can't have that happen with that Horizon game. Let people play it. Let's get feedback. If they turn around in 6 months to 12 months, they're like, this is a non-starter, y'all. The public is rejecting it. We can't make enough changes to really let this land well. They could cancel it. I believe that. I believe it. I feel like this is a course correction. Dante with 11 months. I finally cleared Expedition 33 on Expert after 150 hours. Great game, impactful ending, but the game has its problems, mainly Act 3 momentum shift. Let me add it to the total. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for renewing. They can do a marathon turnaround. Yo, thank you so much, Chrono, for bringing your folks over and raiding the channel. I appreciate it. If you guys are coming over with Chrono, you do have to follow to talk in the chat over there. You don't have to sub on YouTube to talk in the chat. We turn that feature off. If you sub to my channel, I want you to sub because you want more content. I don't want you to sub to talk for 5 minutes and then, if you're just doing like a drive-by chat for a few minutes, that's totally fine. Hopefully we see you another day. Detective Siege just tweeted that he played the game and it has great potential. Huh? How did he already play? There's a picture of the people who played it the second time. Was he a part of the first session? Was he a part of the first capture event? There was a capture event that Jor Raptor went to, and then there was another guy I watched this morning who said, thank you guys for raiding as well over here on YouTube. If you're coming with the Chrono raid, thank you very, very much. The guy I watched this morning, his name is Arctix. Right here. Sorry, hang on. Arctix played it in the first round, but he didn't get invited to the second round. So is Detective Seeds claiming he was a part of one of these play sessions? If he stops by the stream, I'd love for him to clarify. Was he there at the first one that Arctix was at and Jor Raptor, or was he at the second one? Because I didn't see him in the picture. There's a second one where there's a picture. There's like Ammunition and Jor Raptor and some other people. He never said it has great potential. Seeds says the following. I have played Horizon Hunter's Gathering. If you like the franchise, keep your eyes on it. We'll be able to say more later in this year. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Is he claiming he was at one of the events? Or have there been private betas already or something? It absolutely could be canceled, but it could be full steam ahead because the community is not the target audience. That's very possible. That's very possible. There was literally a picture of the people at the second group, and Arctix talked about that. Arctix talked about how he wasn't invited to the second one, and he was kind of bummed about that. He wasn't like his feelings weren't hurt. He just really wanted to continue to have input on the game. I mean, Jor Raptor was at both, and he said he's disappointed. He's not very up on the game. He isn't, and he was at both, and he's provided input. Oh, here we go. Seeds is in chat. I played in a private session last year. I did not say it has great potential. I simply said keep an eye on it. Yeah, we read your tweet. Whoever came in chat and said you said it had great potential, I put your tweet on stream. You definitely didn't say great potential. You said keep an eye on it. So a private session last year. In person? Or like, did they give you access remotely or something? Mohammed said, sorry, I misunderstood. I mean, saying keep your eyes on it, I could see why you extrapolated from that. Like, hey, he thinks it has potential or whatever. Might be NDA. I mean, you don't have to talk about the game. Was it an in-person event or was it like did they do like a remote thing? And if that's the case, then maybe that a lot of people have played it. It's one thing to have like 20 creators come and play and then 20 more creators come and play. If you've got people playing that didn't have to like go play, in person, then I think maybe they've been able to get more feedback on the game. It was remote access last fall. Okay. I'm super excited for it. I'm going to be playing it with my kids. I didn't even consider that until just now. My daughter loves Aloy. She also loves K-pop Demon Hunters. And she also... Yeah. I wonder. Are we missing a piece of the puzzle here? Is this a generational target? Are they shooting right past me and is their target behind me? Are they like, we're going for that generation that's like, they won't stop singing Golden and they love K-pop and yeah. You just said, what is K-pop? What? What'd you just say? 53 months from Rare Killer. Let's get you up on the board here. Pragmata demo on the Pro fires on all cylinders. It's good, isn't it, Mr. Polar Bear? It's very good. I said keep an eye on it because I think it will appeal to a larger audience than maybe the ones at the event. Okay. Yeah, obviously you got to be careful with what you say, Seeds. So I don't know what you can confirm or not confirm right now. I have said we may all be reacting on the YouTube, Twitter, Reddit world and going, boo. There could be a big section of the Asian market that just loves Monhun style games like this. Maybe they really like the art style and they flock to it like crazy. I have even said that I think the NC Soft MMO that's only on mobile, I think that's got its sights set on China. I don't think that game is even intended for us. I think Horizon 3 is intended for Europe and America, and I think the NC Soft MMO is intended for China. And this game could be completely intended for either the younger generation like my daughter, or it could be intended for like the Asian Monhun audience that's like into the anime, into the cartoony cool vibes, because the trailer looked really great until gameplay. I was like, yo, the cinematics look kind of sick. It's like a cell-shaded anime. It looks like something that I could see on Netflix. And then they got to the gameplay, and I was like, oh, this ain't it, bro. This is derivative. The mobile MMO is coming to PC as well. No, it is not. You will be able to play that game through the Purple Launcher, which is a mobile launcher emulator. It is not coming to PC in the traditional sense. So I'm not trying to be pedantic. I just want to make sure people are properly informed. That mobile MMO is a mobile MMO through and through. You won't be playing like a PC version of the game. You'll be playing the game via the Purple Launcher, which is essentially a mobile emulator. Monster Hunter fandom in Japan is like a custom at this point, like Gundam or something. Why can't GTA 6 just launch on PC too? Well, they know people will buy it more than once, and, it's a tried and true strategy that they've implemented before. Seed says, that's all I can say due to NDA. It does not expire until later this year. There are many play sessions coming. I can say that at least. I would say that sounds to me like a course correction, because this sounds like the polar opposite of Concord. I was told by somebody I trust that like Concord was even super secretive within SIE. Like nobody was allowed to see it or play it. And that was a disaster. Now they're like, let people play it, bring in creators, let the public see it, let the public play it. This seems like a total shift in strategy to avoid another Concord. So to me, I would say I can celebrate that while still being critical and being like, I just don't think this game is it, y'all. I'm just calling it how I see it. I can't. I'm not going to sit here and try to spin this as a positive. I'm like, I think this is a miss. I think this is an absolute swing and a miss unless they can make significant changes. I'm open to being wrong, but we've been watching the trend of games like this for a while. They just never really get their footing. They just don't. There's no room at the table anymore for a game like this. It's just the space is too gobbled up by games that have already kind of been there, done that. If you drop the IP from this game, nobody would be going to town for it other than first-party PlayStation game. They started making the game 7 years ago. I highly doubt they planned on doing this for the K-pop fans. Well, I'm not saying that they're doing it for the K-pop fans, but they could be saying there's a younger generation that likes this style, that likes the more, like, forget K-pop for a second, Paul. Pixar movies. You know what I mean? Big Hero 6 and Toy Story and, you know, like, they 100% 6 years ago could have said, hey, that younger generation likes these kinds of games. So, you know, so my daughter's in the room. You know the Horizon game, the girl with the red hair and the bow? Okay. She's got like a bow and arrow. I'm asking her a question, Mama. If they made a game like that looked kind of cartoony, right? Looked a little bit more cartoony, looked a little bit more like Fortnite. And you could go in the game and play with other people and pick heroes. There's like a girl who's got like, you know, they kind of look like characters a little bit from K-pop. And they could go and fight and battle against the monsters. Would you like that more or less than the game you can already play? Would you like it more or less? Because you can play Aloy right now. Looks kind of like Fortnite. You pick a character, like some spunky girl with red hair who's got like a sword. Uh-huh. Why would you like it more? Okay. 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 I was just curious what you thought. All right, go ahead. She said she would like it more because the you could play with other people and the monsters wouldn't be as hard. You'd have other people to play with. And she said that it being like Fortnite sounds good too. So, I don't know. It's possible that we are not the target here. You know, a Fortnite adjacent game could be appealing to a generation that, you know, PlayStation's happy to make a game for, and the rest of us are kind of like, just give me Horizon 3. You know, you're getting both. If you get my kiddo to play Horizon Hunter's Gathering and I'm pining for Horizon 3, they could be making a generational play. Like Astrobot is the reason my kids like primarily love and want to play on PlayStation. They think of PlayStation because of Astrobot. Dauntless tried this and failed. True, but this is a pretty big and popular IP already, and that's going to probably help it. So, I don't know. It's something I hadn't considered. Ask you about the Aloy game, bud? You want to be a part of the conversation? Yeah. Okay, it's an Aloy game, but it looks a little bit like Fortnite, and there's different heroes to choose from, and you go in and play with other people, and you fight the monsters as a team, and you have, like, abilities and stuff. No? Okay. He says the main game's better. He and I played that together. We would both control Aloy. Yeah, he beat the Lego Horizon game. He said it was easy. We are the target of VR kids, knowing the gamers are aging. If you can tie in a franchise to parents and their kids, you have a much longer generational lifespan, for sure. Crazy how Horizon gets not one but two game as a service games and a theatrical movie when stuff like God of War gets a canceled game as a service game and a little Netflix TV series. I don't know. I mean, you know, it could be what they see as maybe a more versatile brand, more versatile character. in Aloy. The world itself as well, maybe. He responds, nah, give me GTA 6. Yeah. They ask about that one every once in a while because, like, if there's a trailer or something, I have to cover it, and they'll ask, they're like, what's going on with GTA 6? And they know they're not going to play it, but they're interested because it like comes up. Like, I'll tell my wife, like, sorry, babe, I got to go do this thing that, what have you. Dad, I think that art style is devoid of any creativity, and it sounds as if it was created by a corporate board rather than through passion. That's my boy. My man. Oh, man. High Guard Episode 2 cinematic hinted at potential PvE coming. Okay. I don't know if anything can really turn that game around. I mean, they could maybe have enough meager success to potentially justify their existence, but good golly, I just don't know. They've just fallen so far. Momentum and inertia go both ways, right? Like when you're trying to get up a hill and when you're coming down a hill. I mean, it goes both ways. When you start losing players, when you start losing public interest and you start losing engagement, that momentum can work against you as much as momentum on an upswing can work in your favor. So I just think the momentum, the downswing in High Guard, that downswing of momentum is almost irreversible. Why is that guy giving her money? That's right. Helping her through nursing school. Yeah. They will not be seeing or watching any GTA 6. My daughter and my son had braces and expanders and things put in yesterday, and you have to wind the expander, and the first day is the worst. I can't even do the winding. It makes my face and my mouth hurt. I can't do it. Madam has to do it. Which thanks for all the support. Because we're putting metal in their mouths, right? We're making sure they have good straight teeth. And so she was watching me play Karen last night, the climbing game, and she's giving me advice and telling me where to put my my feet and stuff, and because she needed something to distract herself until hoping the pain would kind of go away and that the Motrin would kick in. So she was watching me play the climbing game. And she was like, I would not like this game. This game looks frustrating. I was like, yeah, it can be a little frustrating. It's a good game, though. I had that expander as a kid, the worst. Oh, yeah, I had one. Just terrible. It's like, it's a freaking torture device. You know what I'm saying? With good intentions, but it's a dadgum torture device. I'd be fine giving it another shot, but the game just didn't feel good at all. Maybe just personal preference, but PvP is not for me. Yeah, I mean, consumer... momentum and inertia is a real thing. Siege Master with the 5 bomb gets us to 259. Thank you so much. Youngest is 10 not allowed to play. My 16-year-old does, though. I was iffy on it, but I just accepted. I would rather be able to explain things to him. Him go to buddies. Yeah, 16 to 18 gets gray for me. Like, every 16-year-old's different. There are some that I'd be like a hard no on, like absolutely not. I don't want kids seeing this kind of stuff. The longer you can kind of keep them from seeing it, the better. 16 gets gray, 17 gets gray, Yeah, I thanked Chrono for raiding Zinthos. Thanks for letting me know. He raided on Twitch and YouTube. I appreciate it very, very much. Mr. Chrono for doing that. Guys, as you're coming in, man, we've been live for 2 hours, and we're still just seeing more and more folks come in. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Try to get us to 300 likes. And check your renewals. If you're paying for your membership or you have a Prime over there on Purple, you can help us hit that goal this week just by celebrating your renewal. It's not something that you have to pay for. You're already paying for it. My kids are young, and they know so much that they shouldn't from their friends. Oh, for sure. That's a whole other ball of wax you got to fight. Karen's more difficult than I expected. The number 8 wall at the beginning pissed me off for a minute. I definitely turned on the accessibility features because I'm not trying to fall and redo entire sections. You know, there are definitely times I have fallen, and I'm like, it didn't even make any sense. She fell last night. It can get a little glitchy. She fell last night, and I was standing on a flat surface, and she wouldn't acknowledge that I had made it. She wouldn't like step down, and so she like fell. She like slumped and curled in a ball, and then like the game like glitched and like pitched me out. And I was like, what? Like my feet were on a flat surface. Like it's not as polished as I would like, which is why the accessibility feature stays on for me. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to rewind that. That was not my fault. Like, she just wouldn't acknowledge that she had made it to a flat surface. So there's definitely some oddities in the game. I wish more games like this would let you create your own character, just more appealing. These characters don't seem appealing to me. Yeah, I was trying to explain it this morning. I don't think I did a great job, D-Tom, but I do think when you are playing a game like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, it feels more like a chessboard where you're picking a bishop because you know this bishop can counter like what the rook is doing or something, right? I'm not a chess master, so I'm keeping this very stupid and generic. When you're playing a PvE game, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like you're creating a character, setting a character up to go and fight and win a battle. It feels more adjacent to like an action RPG, which that's when you kind of feel like, yeah, I'd like to have more control over my character and have them be more customizable and not like a preset hero. I think that's where people... I really do think this. I think that missing the forest for the trees here is, because a lot of people, I'm surprised nobody did this today. I'm really surprised nobody came in and said, Lono, you've been saying for a long time that PvE is where there's so much potential. Why are you so down on this game? And I'm like, because they're shooting at the right board and they're missing the target. Like, they're aiming at the right board. Like, let's get a PvE live service game out there. I think there's massive potential for it. They're completely missing the target. I think doing heroes is an absolute miss. I think the art style, absolute miss. The odds of them hitting a bullseye with this, I think, are greatly diminished by those two choices. Those two choices, I think, just absolutely pull this thing off target. I remember during the Olympics watching the archery, right? They would pull and then would let go, right? And if there was a little too much wind or if they moved a little bit too much, they'd be off target and that arrow would just completely miss the bullseye. I feel like there's wind here that's going to pull them off target. And I think the art style and the choice to do heroes is just absolutely going to make them miss that bullseye. I think people are like, I don't want to play a game. Like, picture yourself coming back to this game in 4 months. Everything I've said about Marathon, I'm saying it here too. The idea that hero shooters just aren't all that appealing. In 4 months, are you going to come back? Because we've got a new character, and his name is Hank, and Hank's got a really, really big chainsaw. And you're like, okay. Like, continuance in a game like this typically comes from you having a character that you sort of are invested in. You feel like you kind of exist in the world, like your Guardians in Destiny. Even your character in Arc Raiders. It sort of feels like you. Now remember, I was a little concerned about that in Helldivers, but it's you every time. Like, they say it's a new soldier, but like, you're wearing the same armor. You're wearing the same customizations. I mean this. If they would have done heroes in Helldivers, I don't think it would have been as successful because it would have felt like I'm just picking some prefab person instead of me, instead of my outfit, my loadout, my cape. That's me. I look silly. I look goofy. I'm flopping around on the ground. What it does is it creates a tether. It's like, I'm in the game. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It creates a personal touch point where like you are wanting to then come back. When you're playing a game and you're playing as Hank, right? Or whatever the names of these freaking characters are. I think they talked about it near the end, right? The characters you could play as. When this is your choice, I don't feel like I'm in the game. I'm just controlling one of those people. Now that works in a story-driven game. Why? because I'm experiencing the story alongside Aloy or Kratos or, Joel. Okay. But when I'm playing like a PvE game or like a game where like I'm picking the abilities and I'm picking the things, and then you want me to come back in 3 months, you better put me in the game. I need to be in the game. Me. If you want me to come back in 3 months. If I come back in 3 months and I'm just picking from another roster of people that aren't me, I think the likelihood of me coming back is diminished greatly. This, to me, feels obvious and feels like blatant player psychology. I don't feel like I'm saying anything that's crazy. I feel like these are things they probably know this internally at various studios that have studied this. I don't have the evidence right here. I'm guessing that if they studied this and researched this, it would back up my thesis is that players are more likely to return to a live service game if they feel like they are the character in the game. If they feel like they are in the world. I think the likelihood of them returning goes up when they do that. I think the likelihood of them returning goes down when they're not in the game, they're just picking a character. I bet you research would back me on this. I bet you if you research this, my thesis would come true, and you'd be like, yep, there's a total trend in the way that players engage with these games. They're way more likely to return if they feel like they're in the game. Asmongold was spot on about these types of games. Characters, they make for great memes. I didn't see what he said. I agree, classes with created characters over heroes. Yeah, like all of these characters, you could play as these characters in the story, right? I don't have any problem with that. If you want to play as these characters through a story, like if homie back here, with the crazy, like, I don't even know what you would call that. This is like a Goku. This is like a Goku Afro. I messed that up. But that's what it looks like to me. I tried to come up with something catchy and it was a disaster. Let's pretend that didn't happen. If you're going to have me play as this guy back here, okay? Yeah, looking like a Cornel West Goku. And he has a really cool story. I'm totally interested in that story. I'm interested in experiencing that story. I'm interested in knowing like where he's come from. He definitely looks older than the rest of the people there. Okay? I'm interested in that. But if you want me to come back and to keep playing the game and to keep enjoying the game as me, then I need to feel like I have a character in the game that I made. I think they should consider doing that. It's fine to have me play as the preset characters for some of the story elements for the campaign. They said there's going to be more campaign in the future, I believe. That's totally fine. When it comes time to play in the main game, let me make a character. If you want me to come back, I think you're going to have to do that. If not, I don't feel like I'm in your game. I feel like you're just letting me sort of pick from a buffet of characters, which doesn't tether me to the game at all. It makes your game very disposable. It's very forgettable if I'm just picking from a buffet of characters that I then just sort of forget about and leave behind. Perhaps they should have called them hunter shells. It would have been better achieved. Yeah, they should, instead of calling them heroes, they should call them shells. It would completely change it. It would absolutely change it. Froku. Yeah, Froku's pretty good. It's also really, really hard when you're in the market next to... Let me try and get a good image here for you guys. It's really hard when you're in the market against something like this. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm having a hard time. Do you see? It's like what you could drop any one of these characters on the screen right now. You could drop them right into this scene and they would fit in. It's like they're from the same universe. we have any good pictures here? No. Now, this obviously looks a little bit more like Torchlight or something than this. But man, oh man. It's literally like, oh, yeah, go to town and talk to those NPCs. And these people are like, yeah, sure, we'll be right there. And they're like, hey, thanks for stopping by. We have a quest for you. Okay, what's the quest? Like, it's like they're from... I'm telling you. It just... They're too adjacent to each other with respect to art style. I'm surprised they haven't brought back facial scans or uploads to really make it feel like you are in the game. I think you're going to start to see them do that more and more. I think there's going to be a handful of things that AI will probably bring to games. One of those things... one of those things is going to be the ability for them to say your name. Right? Like if you put your name in as Steven... They're literally going to say your name when you walk up. And they're like, oh, hey, Steven, glad you're back to the, they're going to be able to do that 100%. Putting your face in the game, yeah, probably that too. I could totally see them doing that. Making it seem like, more immersive, like you're actually in the game. 100%. What is this? Eugenics. Rate this translation. It's a terrible translation. You didn't translate it. It's just in Spanish. Ecstasis. Let me refresh it. Ecstasis tweeted something. I can't frickin' see what he's saying. It's a game called Eugenics. It's opened up at a 90 on on OpenCritic. I don't know how many scores it has. Hang on, let's check this game out. It launched on Steam, and it looks like it's getting really great reception. So this game launches in 4 days on the 10th. It's called Eugenics. Is this the guy that did Binding of Isaac? I believe it is. Oh my gosh. Eugenics, OpenCritic. Wait. How's he getting the Eugenics OpenCritic score? It's a roguelite RPG turn-based strategy dark humor game. Yeah, from the guy that made Jiminy Christmas. From the guy that made Binding of Isaac. Yeah. Ecstasis seems to be indicating it's got a great OpenCritic score. I'm not seeing it though, so I'm not sure why he's able to see that and I'm not. So it could be a glitch that maybe he saw, maybe the embargo hasn't dropped yet or something. If you guys are enjoying the show and you've been chilling for the duration of the morning, man, thank you so much. A great way to support is to hit that like button. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There is footage and there are now images coming out. Sophie Turner as Tomb Raider. I mean, I think they're nailing it. It's really going to come down to story and acting at this point, right? They clearly went away from the Angelina Jolie, like super buxom, like busty style Lara Croft, which I think is fine. I knew when they cast Sophie Turner that wasn't going to be the focus. Like, I'm not being crass. She's just not built that way. Like she's not like a buxom woman, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's definitely going to be a different interpretation. So at this point, I think this looks fine. I think you're going to have to, the story and the acting is going to have to be, they're going to have to nail it. Because I think people are going to be primed and ready to say, like, to hate and to be nasty and to be like, that's not my Lara Croft or whatever. If she's not, bouncing around and jiggling all over the place, people are going to basically, unless you're looking like and built like Sydney Sweeney, people are, raging about your game or your art. Doesn't look bad. Feels like a COD character. Need to see more. Well, visually, it's just not going to feel a whole lot like Lara Croft, because if that's what she looks like, it's like, okay, you're going to have to sell it with the story and the acting then. When we saw the costume test that they did, I thought it looked fine, but it was like, you're going to have to nail the story here, the action. Yeah. I don't think the red hair is a big deal. It's like, she has red hair, so what? I know it's like brown in the game or whatever, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Alicia Vikander was okay. Yeah. Yep, y'all know what I think. We're never going to get the perfect cast for Lara Croft. It's that ship has already sailed, so it's unfortunate, but Lauren Cohen was the shoe-in. That ship has sailed. Maybe the hair's intention to make a break. Yeah. So it's not Laura. I mean, I think if you're going to get that specific about, like, hair color, like, come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is every single member of the MCU have the exact right hair color? Like, did you get out like a color palette for every character, you know, for Steve Rogers and for Tony Stark and for Spider-Man, and make sure they all exactly match? Like, come on, dude. Like, that's not a defining aspect of the character. Especially if you're okay with Sophie Turner, you're clearly okay with a version of Lara Croft that doesn't look like the video game character because she's not super busty. So they're clearly going in a different artistic direction. Like, who cares if her hair is red at that point? Jiminy Christmas. People dye their hair all the time. Yeah, that's another aspect of it. Like, why does she have to have... I don't know. That's a pretty minute detail. If they nail the story and the acting, then that's really all that matters at this point. If you're unhappy with the direction they've taken, then I don't know why would it be such a big deal. I feel like it would make more sense. Well, and her hair did look brown here, so it is possible they're going to do something with After Effects to make it look a little less red or something. But, like, if you saw this picture and you're like, you thought this was acceptable, this is a very, very different version of Laura compared to the traditional, you know, imagery, because she's not super busty. And I think that that's fine. I don't think that's a defining trait of the character. It was at the time, and it was a bit of a cliche and a stereotype as well, which means we don't need to make that, like, the primary thing. So if you're okay with that, then I don't think it's a big deal, like the hair color's different. It looks like a bad cosplay. Well, it was a costume test. If you go back and look at the Thor costume test, it was very similar. It was, like, super cheesy. When they had, like, Hemsworth standing around in what looked like cheap Thor pajamas. So, yeah. I'm writing this down for the next time you complain about a minor change to a character that you love. A minor change? When have I ever complained about a minor change? I'll complain about significant changes. Like, I don't think hair color is a significant change. Like, stuff that they did in, like, Rings of Power with, like, Gandalf being, you know, his famous quote coming from Tom Bombadil. That's not hair color. That's like a lore. That's like a seismic lore change. You know what I mean? That's not hair color. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. What if Gandalf had black hair? Well, they call him Gandalf the Grey. So if all of a sudden he was walking around in like a pink robe and had like really short hair and a goatee, that's a defining like attribute of the character. I don't feel like her hair color is a defining attribute. I think character appearance can be completely mismanaged. Yes, I think making Snape a black man is an enormous mistake because of the way that the character is described in the books. his appearance, his sallow skin, his corpse-like creepy look is a part of his character. I don't think you could. I think that's a lot more difficult to navigate with a black man. You're going to say that he's scary because of what he looks like? He was picked on, made fun of by James Potter and Lupin and Sirius Black. Like, when someone's appearance is a huge aspect of the character and you modify it, that's not the same as like Lara Croft having red hair instead of being a brunette. That's not the same at all. Like, I don't think anybody's like, oh my gosh, it's really important that her hair is brown. I'll give Lono that one. He's supposed to be a pasty vampire thing. It's literally a part of the story. It's why Neville Longbottom is so scared of Snape. He looks creepy and scary. His classroom is in a cold, like, dank dungeon. His face is described in some scenes as turning really, really red, which you know is severe because he's so pale and sallow. So the contrast of him getting really red in a couple of the scenes is there's significance to it because of his appearance. You're going to lose that. All that's gone. It's not going to work. I think it's a severe mistake. I don't know why they're doing it. I really don't. Of all the characters, if you were going to swap what they look like, Snape is the worst one because his appearance is a significant aspect of the books. And there are the official canon illustrated editions that were approved by J.K., and the guy that did them, Snape's in there, and that's what he looks like. He's described as having greasy hair. Like, greasy hair. It's like really, it's usually like draped in his face. Sallow skin. Like, come on. What are we doing here? What are we doing? If you bring up a pic of the OG game on Google, it's literally dark red, not brown. You know, I don't know, boys. He might have a point. Sophie Turner might actually have hair color that's pretty close to that. maybe y'all are upset for no reason. I mean, she's not built like that. That's fair. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to lay like a Barbie doll that might tip over if the wind blows because she's so busty. But that hair color looking a little reddish right there. I don't know. It would be like race swapping Luke Cage or Black Panther. I mean, yeah, that's a significant aspect of the character. That would be ridiculous. For sure. Lara Croft's original hair color in the classic Tomb Raider was dark auburn, a brownish red. Is what Google is saying. Google AI is saying it's dark red. It kind of looks like that in the thing that we just pulled up. So I think Sophie Turner's hair actually kind of looks like what the original artwork looked like. Yes, Brian, that is who Neville is. If Sophie can nail the acting, then it's all fine. Yeah, I don't know. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. I don't know if Sophie Turner has displayed deep acting chops. I think from everything I've seen, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but I've seen clips. From the clips that I've seen, she seems fine, you know. So we'll see. Yeah, even Reddit says, I hope Laura returns to her original auburn hair color in the future. The reddish brown look is unique. Like, even someone on Reddit is saying that. Like, a fan of the game is saying that. From 4 years ago, by the way. From 4 years ago, somebody said that they felt like the auburn, almost like reddish like hair was like iconic. Oh, she's an awful actress, just not good. I think did you mean to say she's not an awful actress, just not good? I want to hear Sophie's accent. That's enough to sell me. That's all I'll continue to say. They absolutely missed a slam dunk with Lauren Cohen. Like, Lauren Cohen doesn't just look like Lara Croft. She's not just built like her. She sounds like what you would want Lara Croft to sound like. So, yeah. She's both awful and not good. Listen. I'll give her a shot. Maybe she pulls it off. Maybe the right director and the right script can help her soar. You know. Us old guys like Cohen, but nobody else seems to. I don't know how you could. I have nothing to say to that. How could somebody feel that way? I'm bewildered. I'm bewildered. How could anybody feel that way towards Lauren Cohen? A Tomb Raider movie doesn't need to be a massive and complex story arcs to be a winner. It just needs to be a popcorn flick. Yeah. It doesn't need to be insane. It doesn't need to be insane. We had a big spike in the last 60 minutes from one particular suggested video. What are we pulling from? Delta Force Season 8 has been amazing. The frick? A Delta Force partner video. Yeah, we're getting recommended on some odd things today. You guys that clicked on the video today and stopped by, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. How long we've been going here? A little under 3 hours. And we're looking at the news feeds now because we've kind of gone the full gamut of today's topics. PlayStation's doing well, console sales, MAU. I mean, all those dialogue and narrative points about consoles can't grow and exclusives are archaic. I think those narratives are just in tatters on the ground once again. So says, come on, give her a break. Zubair says she's not in chat. This isn't going to come back to her. Her feelings are safe. I think she'd be able to endure some people saying that they don't think she's a good actress. She's probably used to saying that. I think those Game of Thrones checks probably, really help ignore us. Pragmata was a cool short demo, but interesting combat. Yeah, I liked it. I wasn't sure about what the combat was going to feel like. I think it works really well. I think you get to a point where, like, the moment to moment, you can literally do the little mini game with your peripheral vision. You don't even need to actively look at it. So, you play any limited run games? I don't know what that is. Limited run games are they a publisher? Limited run games. Oh, like when they do a limited run, like a physical edition. I mean, I've played some of the games that have done limited runs. I rolled credits on High on Life this year because the sequel's very close. The sequel's next week, isn't it? I think High on Life 2 is next week. And that's why I wanted to play the first one. I hated the combat. I stopped playing the demo after 30 minutes. I could totally see why some people won't vibe with the combat. I could totally see it. If you don't like it, I'm not going to try to convince you to like it. It's very different. Yeah, it's very different. The big Arc Raiders interview. Embark boss talks live service plans, banning cheaters, and the secret sauce of PvE. That's so interesting. I wonder why they're saying the PvE is the secret sauce. Where have I heard that before? Let's continue to read. Arc Raiders, an extraction shooter and the second game from the developer Embark Studios, has taken the world by storm. The sci-fi third-person PvE experiment launched with little more than a $40 price tag and enticing premise back in October, and almost immediately established itself as one of the biggest games of 2025 and maybe even 2026. Now the post-launch roadmap paving the way with the promise of new map updates and new apocalyptic AI enemies. All eyes are on Embark to see if it can keep the momentum up for months, maybe even years to come. We caught up with CEO Patrick Soderlund to learn more about the surprise success of Arc Raiders, its huge impact on the studio, the battle with cheaters, content updates, hotels in Italy, weird pants, and more. All right, here we go. I like to start with PvE. Like so many others, I'm fascinated by how players have chosen to communicate and interact with one another in the game. What is Embark doing to encourage that behavior and capitalize on the special sauce that makes this element unique? I think you said it well. I think it's maybe not just capitalizing on the aspects of PvE, but it's capitalizing on the unique sauce that we managed to cook that makes this game special. I think PvE and PvP are both ingredients in the sauce. I could sit there and pretend like, yes, everything that happens in this game and everything that people do in this game, of course, was intended. That's not the case, of course. When you build a game and you structure it to a large extent with elements of a sandbox, the stuff that happens in Arc Raiders is just the output, which is incredible and a very rewarding. It's very rewarding for us to see as developers. Now, you see what's interesting here is, okay, you see what's interesting here is he seems to be confirming what I've been saying. He's not coming out and outright saying it. I want to continue reading to see what he says here, but I feel like he's basically saying, yeah, people are playing this like a PvE game. We had no idea that folks were going to do that. Like, the aggression-based matchmaking is certainly there to protect the player experience, but the output and the outcome, as I said, it's emergent. It's like this is why the game is doing so well, because people are literally playing it like a PvE game. He's literally saying, yeah, I mean, we set up the structure. He's confirming, he's almost passively confirming that, like, that's how people are playing the game. Because the reason it feels like he's confirming that is he's almost saying it was unexpected, because they added that PvP ingredient in, and people are still playing the game like it's like a PvE game. What we do is we look and we say, okay, what do we think we should double down on? I personally am touched by the social elements in the game and the things that make me, and I think everyone else, believe in humanity again. There's something very kind about that in many aspects, just as sometimes PvP can be exciting, frustrating, and thrilling as well. Those are the aspects that we have to look into. I think we look at it from a holistic perspective and try to understand what more we can do to foster and to nurture both sides. One of the discussions that I think, to some extent, public is, what's Speranza? I think Speranza is heavily underutilized personally. I think that's something that we want to probably improve and make into something else. Are there elements of the game where we could be meeting points? Again, these are personal ideas right now that I'm basically brainstorming with you, but the Speranza idea is obviously something that I think people have told us about, something that I think could be cool. Could you meet people there? Could it be a social hub to some extent? What more could we do with that? It also depends, that I think is something that the players maybe want more of, which is the lore of Arc Raiders. So we look at it from multiple angles and multiple perspectives, and then as we build content as quickly and as fast as we can, we try to push updates and changes into the game that does much more of what we believe is great about the game. You see, what's interesting is they're brainstorming about elements of the game that are very PvE in focus. Social hubs, places to meet, lore. Again, he ain't saying it, but I'm telling you, the trends within this player base are heavily leaning towards PvE. You know, Burnt Peanuts the homie, and all these streamers having fun doing PvP, you know, they're having a great time. I don't think they represent the majority at all. I don't think so. Quick offshoot, are there any plans for more instruments? You're going to laugh. Who's got the biggest advocate for instruments? This will send you a picture of me. Okay, so they're talking about instruments here. I don't really care about that. When I play, sometimes I hear players outright comment on being in friendly or unfriendly lobbies. I'm not sure if this is something that you know off the top of your head, but is Embark aware of how much of its player base is intentionally taking advantage of the aggression-based matchmaking to place themselves in PvE or PvP-centered lobbies? I don't know the answer to that. It obviously is something that we are and need to continue to monitor. That's not the intent of the game's design or our ambition to segment the game in that aspect and to make it so people can sneak in. That's not, of course, what we want. We want you as a player to have the experience that you're looking for and that makes you happy. This is exactly what I was talking about. Aggression-based matchmaking is not about giving you a PvP lobby or a PvE lobby. It's about you having a good time. The identity of the game still has to remain intact. You still have to have the tension of the friendly player might betray you. The friendly lobby might be dangerous, right? As I said, they set this game up to maintain happiness and to maintain enjoyment. It's not that rigid. It's not like, oh, I get a PvE lobby. This right here is why the guys who ran to my video and commented and said, why don't they just give us PvE lobbies? This right here is why. They want your enjoyment to feel organic and genuine, not something that you just kind of picked off the shelf. Yep, give me the PvE experience. If you have a really good game and a really good experience and a bunch of friendly homies, that feels organic, like you brought that into existence, and that, I think, is why this is working as opposed to just completely separate playlists. I don't think they're going to give you separate playlists, and that's exactly why. It's more potent, it's more memorable for it to feel like it's kind of emerging from your own choices and your own behavior as opposed to you just picking a playlist. We have to deal with the factor of the human beings and the real players, which we can't curate that 100%. It's impossible because humans make decisions. I can be the friendliest guy, and then all of a sudden I can decide to start shooting people, or the opposite. It's just the nature of a multiplayer game, but we understand that is a concern. We understand that it could be the case, and sometimes is the case. We are obviously pushing our systems and thinking about other means of trying to give players the experience that they're looking for without going into deep details about this, because it's pretty complex, to be honest. You are frankly like me for the most part. So basically what he's saying is we want to foster this. We want you to continue to have a good time. He's not going to give you the details on how it works, either because it's outside of his purview, because he's not at that level of development, but also they don't want people to be able to manipulate it. I'm PvE to a large extent, but I'm also PvP sometimes because I think it's fun. You have other players that just want to PvP, and for them it's completely fair. I think the game should cater to all types of players, but what we don't want to have happen is for you to feel like you're in a situation that you don't want or that you didn't wish for. That's kind of important. That's an important aspect of this. So, the aggression-based matchmaking is still something you guys are tweaking every day. All systems, when it relates to matchmaking, will undergo changes continuously. That is part of running a live service. We have to, and it's not just that element of our matchmaking. Matchmaking is not as simple as, are you someone that shoots a lot of people or not? It's far more sophisticated than that. The PvP, PvE aspect is a small portion of it. There are other aspects, and then we need to take into consideration, how do you play the game? How good are you? You obviously shoot a lot of arc enemies. You will determine your abilities to shoot in general, and your ability to shoot against AI and shoot against other players. This is something that I was telling people, and this is why you can't just be like, well, I don't shoot anybody. Okay, there could be other factors at play. How often are you using proximity chat? How often are you extracting with other players? How often are you shooting arc? How often are you shooting arc with other players? There's so many elements to how it measures you as a player. You can't just go in, sneak, don't shoot anybody, sneak out, and expect it to impact your matchmaking as much as all these other factors that could be like labeling you as a quote-unquote friendly player. I think one of the single greatest things that influences your matchmaking is extracting with other players. I think that's more influential than shooting other people. I think if you extract with other players, it largely communicates a cooperative style of player. Somebody was claiming Arc Raiders as a competitive shooter. I don't know anybody would claim that. Matchmaking is a complex system as a whole, and as a developer, it's pretty hard to get right. I've been working with matchmaking systems for the majority of my video game career, all the way from Battlefield to a bunch of different games. Frankly, some of the first multiplayer games, no one even knew what matchmaking was. It was like, play on the game, have fun, and then, as games and multiplayer games evolved over time, it obviously became a necessity. It's a formula of many things where PvE and PvP is one aspect of them, and all of it gets continuously tweaked, of course. There are probably other systems that we are working on, and we are probably should be working on, and this is added as well. They're going to start cracking down on cheaters. I'm not going to give a specific number, but I'll give you a ballpark. We've been pretty aggressive on this. The game was prone to so many cheaters in the beginning, or wasn't prone, but as with any multiplayer game, you get successful, it becomes a component. For us as developers, just like the DDoS attack, it's one of the things you have to try to be a step ahead. To be honest with you, it's not always easy, because the minute you do something, the minute you come up with something, they've got something else that they can do. The banning process is obviously delicate, because we need to make sure that when we ban someone, they deserve to be banned, if that makes any sense. If you take general figures, anywhere between 0.1 and 1% of any multiplayer crowd on a large-scale multiplayer game is cheating, and therefore, to some extent, should get a temporary or longer permanent ban. It could be a minor thing that you're trying. An aimbot may get you a 24-hour suspension. To do something like that, frankly, means you shouldn't be playing the game anymore. So we put together a system. We've started banning players, and why do I know that? Because I see an influx of people trying to get to the studio, and to me, oh, I didn't do anything. We're seeing a pretty substantial change in that. but I know that we are banning probably tens of thousands of players. It's honestly hard to understand what he's saying here. He's not being very clear. It's very obtuse. The wording's awkward. I don't think he wants to give away what they're doing and how many they've banned. I don't want to read any more of that section. It sounds like there's a lot of plans for the next months. I've seen some players dissatisfied with the roadmap. What do you say to the people who saw your 4-month plan and feel like it's not enough to keep them coming back? First and foremost, what I say is I hear you. I understand what you're saying, and I would maybe even feel the same way if I were you to some extent because they don't have the details. We opted for a pretty generalized plan for now because, to be very honest, we're developing things as we go. It's a live service, and we know what we're going to do, but we don't actually know whether something that we're working on may or may not make it in time for a particular release. I think this is a completely legitimate response. I think it's completely legitimate to be like, we've got a bunch of things we want to do, but we don't know if they're going to land in Season 2, 3, or 4, depending on development time. He says, as we get closer to releasing something, you'll see, and I think you've seen in our latest patch notes, they're pretty detailed. We're not trying to hide anything. We're just trying to be as transparent as we can, but at this point in time, if we get into the studio development schedule and make it public, we're probably going to be in a world of hurt. Yeah, because this is what happens. Once you give people an expectation and you don't meet that expectation, you're setting those people up to be very, very frustrated. So you don't want to start saying, oh yeah, next season we're going to do thus and so, and then it gets bumped and they can't do it, and then everybody's very angry. Right? This is how you over-deliver. If they're going to consistently keep people happy, this is one of the ways they're going to do it. They're going to have to consistently over-deliver. And a great way of over-delivery is to not tell people that you're going to do A, B, C, and D. If you tell people in Season 2 we're going to do A, B, C, and D, and you do everything but D, everybody's going to fixate on the D. Pause. Everybody's going to fixate on the thing that you didn't do. Yeah, we're going to do A, B, C, D, E, and F. You can't get the F ready, right? Whatever it is. And everybody's going to fixate on that. And be like, that sucks. They told us we were going to get this and we didn't. Everybody's going to fixate on the thing that you failed to do and not all the things that you did do. So you've got to be very careful. I kind of respect that as an answer. It's like you can't put too much out there. People may or not be as forgiving as some of the things that we are not able to deliver, but our goal is to make sure that the game gets continuous updates and that we build things that people love and that we do it as much as we possibly can. I feel like if I paid $40 for this game, I would have felt like I've gotten probably a decent value out of the game. We're not resting. Anybody who feels they've not gotten $40 worth out of this game is being either willfully dishonest or they played for 5 minutes. Like, if you played this game past 10 hours and gotten a lot of enjoyment out of it, I don't think you could argue you didn't get your money's worth. You'll pay $60 and $70 for a single-player game that lasts for maybe 15 hours, sometimes maybe 15 to 20 hours. If you've gotten anywhere from 10 to 15 hours out of a $40 game, I feel you've gotten your worth out of it. This game has more than delivered on the value prop and more than delivered on a fun experience for anybody who's purchased it. There's an ocean of things to do in the game. We did take some time off for Christmas. The team had been working day and night, so that was needed, frankly, a rest. Yeah, and this is why you're going to have a strong 2026, because you gave your people some rest, some respite, and that's a nice catapult into the new year. I realize that if you're a player, you probably don't care about that. I think players should care about that. You don't want to wring the studio out like a rag. That's when you get bad updates, bugs, glitches, and things that are half-baked. As CEO of the studio, I have to care about those types of things and make sure that the people can rest and that we are fair to the people that work here. But from the beginning of January, whenever everyone is back, we are working around the clock to deliver as much content as we can to players. IGN says, generally, what does the map update for Arc Raiders look like? Is there this kind of thing where players should expect to be frequently part of the live service roadmap going forward? The answer is yes, they should. For us, we look at the existing map and we want to build something. You test it, and you test it extensively, and you do whatever you can, but nothing can compare to 10 million people playing your game. You can't test for that, and also over time. So for instance, Stella Montes is a good example of a map that I think has divided the player base to some extent. Some players love it because of the high action. It also did something that we didn't really realize. It changes not only how people play the game, but also the emotions that the map evokes compared to others. Sometimes, I don't know if you recognize this, but when I play it, and I do play it, I feel like I'm in a horror movie, and I think that's pretty cool for a game to be able to give me that feeling. I like for the game to be that, but at the same time, some maps require an additional area. Some maps require a redesign of an area because we don't like the flow of the map. We can monitor everything from that data. For instance, we can see utilizing a heat map where action happens and where players mostly spend their time. If there's an area of the map that's not frequently visited, that feels like it's underutilized. Also, it can make the game feel more rehearsed and more rote and more predictable if you're always going to the same places because those are the best places. So they can always shake things up by making an update to the game and changing where the loot is, where the most profitable sections are. I think those are always options to keep the game fresh, because a lot of the times when a game like this becomes rote and rehearsed like that, it's a self-inflicted form of familiarity. Like, you're frustrated and bored, but you're also the one who keeps going to the exact same spots on the map and the exact same loadout and everything else. So I think it's more than fair for, somebody to look at their game and say, yeah, we're going to completely change the map and the layout and the flow, because we're not just trying to make the game more utilized. We want the player experience to be diverse and exciting. How can we change it to give people a better gameplay experience as they play the game? We for sure want to bring up new content, but you can also evolve and update existing content to make it more fun and better for players, and that's the intent of map changes. There was recently a report going around that you had a $75 million budget. Is there a figure, something we can confirm or comment on? He says, we haven't communicated our development number, and we won't do that. But it's not hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, it's not. I don't know, frankly, where that number came from. He laughs here. It didn't come from me, but it's not far off, if that makes sense. Yeah, you know what I would say? I would say they're around 100 to 150. Their budget's probably 1 to 150. I think this is a little bit lowballed, but yeah, it's not, as he said, in the hundreds and hundreds. I saw it floating around out there without confirmation, so I wanted to get it straight from the horse's mouth. He said, yeah, we're not going to give a specific number, but ballpark, yeah. If you'd like to comment on how profitable Arc Raiders has been for Embark, or at least on how the success has changed the studio for the better. Well, you don't have to be a math professor to realize that the game has done well for us, and that we obviously are incredibly happy with the performance from a financial perspective. So, of course, it's been profitable for us. Yeah, that's an honest answer. Like, yeah, we made a ton of money. How could you not see that? What does it mean for us? Well, first and foremost, it means that unfortunately it's not something that I'm happy about, but our industry has been riddled with layoffs and studio closures in the past. I would say 24 months. And at some other time we could discuss that, but I believe the root cause of that, which is going to take far longer than we have today, but for us, it means stability, long-term security. We can live for a long time on that money that Arc Raiders has been generating, and that does give us financial security and employment stability for the people that work here. We're growing our studio. We're hiring people. We want to build more of Arc Raiders, and we want to build more of the finals. We also have new games in development that we hope to finish someday. So for us, it's a sigh of relief, obviously, for any developer, and we're incredibly happy for that, of course, and thankful for everyone who has been supporting us and buying the game. It feels great. Obviously, hopefully, we can have competitive salaries, good bonuses for the people who have done all the hard work and deserve to be taken care of adequately. This guy is absolutely these are legendary good answers. To be like, we want stability, we are growing, but we really want to make sure and compensate the people that got us here. I think this guy is an excellent leader. Unless he's just flat out talking out of his rear end. I mean, this sounds like an amazing guy to work for. One of the funnier conversations I've seen online has to do with the Abyss set, and specifically its pants. I don't really care about that. Wait, what's the follow-up? I guess the natural question I have after this is, what guide of philosophy, if anything, does Embark follow in creating cosmetics to add to the game? Robert, who's the director of art, does this stuff. First and foremost, we want to make sure that everything fits the fiction of Arc Raiders, and that it's something that sits well within the Arc Raiders universe. I mean, there are other games, very successful games out there, the finals being one of them, in which the IP is designed so basically happens to be very elastic. So you can do whatever you want with it, and people are like, that makes sense, it's completely plausible. I can be a pink banana, and you can be whatever, and everyone's like, that makes sense, it fits the universe, no problem. Arc Raiders has a more curated lore, curated world, so you have to stick within the boundaries slightly to a different extent than maybe the finals or Fortnite or another game in which Batman can shoot Bart Simpson. Creature! Creature. Can Batman beat up Bart Simpson? Creature always talks about, like, the live stream gets off kilter and we start talking about any other subject, and he always says this. He either says, can Darth Vader beat up Bart Simpson, or he'll say, can Batman beat up Bart Simpson? That's funny. That's not the vision for our game, but at the same time, the game as it is now from launch is the start of Arc Raiders lore. We obviously want to take it and expand it further. Yeah, I expect the art direction to be respected and the cosmetics to not really diverge from it. I've seen some chatter about map conditions and events. Some players don't like that they are on a rotating schedule. Does Embark have a response or an explanation? They're on a rotating schedule for multiple reasons. Obviously, we believe that it's part of how the game should be played and that not everything is available at all times. We believe that creates tension. It's an element of fun. It's a way for us to move people from map to map, which we believe is important. More so, I saw something online that there were no events going on. Sometimes it could be, frankly, a malfunction or a bug that's entered the system and that needs a fix. We don't want all the map events to be available at all times. That's per design and most likely won't change. Sometimes we'll let them stay for longer. Sometimes we run 2 or 3 in parallel, but they may be different. But we believe that to be part of how the game should be experienced. With multiple map conditions coming throughout escalation, how will map conditions affect how Embark schedules and rotates events? Will some conditions be rotated out? I don't actually care about that. That's a really long answer. I'm wondering if you've seen that and if you can confirm or deny if Salamanca's location of the game is named after this hotel. This is just like a joke section. That's a lot of good information there. A lot of good feedback, a lot of good answers. It really does confirm to me, I think the first half of the interview just undeniably confirms that the PvE element is a huge aspect of the game's success. They set up the aggression-based matchmaking. They set up the matchmaking to ensure that people could have a good time and play the game they wanted to play. And people are showing loud and clear that they're not interested in PvP. I think he all but confirmed that. And the way that he answered the questions and the way that he kind of spoke around it, yeah. I definitely got that vibe. I did. So. All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do because it is Friday and I like to give you guys the full gamut here of potential, because if you guys are wanting to unlock the Madam stream tomorrow, you got about 45 minutes to do it. All right, I got the timer up. Okay, I got the timer up. It's just 400 to unlock tomorrow. If you guys go beyond that and hit stretch, then I have to play because I'm not going to play. We're going to have Madam play again. We'll have her react to gaming news. We do owe you a couple more matches. I didn't feel like we had her play enough. So we will definitely do that tomorrow if we can hit this. And you guys have some time now. So make sure, check your primes to see if they're up for renewal. Hit the $sign on YouTube. See if you got a renewal. That's something that you've already paid for. You want to make sure and celebrate that. The number floating around now is that PlayStation has brought in over $2 billion putting their games on other platforms. Oh, let's look at the poll I did. Did you guys take the poll? I forgot to put a link on that poll to this live stream. Okay, it didn't like crack off and go crazy, so I didn't like miss a huge opportunity here. I'll go and pin it though, just in case people start to take the poll. Live discussion. I asked, what did you guys think of the Horizon Hunters Gathering trailer? Roughly 300 votes. Thumbs up at a 40, 60 thumbs down. This isn't really surprising given this community that it's split towards the negative, but there's still a good chunk of you that are like, I think it looks good. That's not surprising at all. And Sam's going to start things off and round us out to 260. Thank you for that gifted member, Sam. I appreciate it so much. Some of the comments here seems better than High Guard. The gameplay looked pretty okay. I wish Steel Frontiers was the PS5 game. Gandalf with 43 months says, well, look at that. I did have a member update. Dropping it like it's hot. Boom. That's exactly why you guys should check those renewals. They add to the total. You're getting credit for your support of the channel. I did want to ask you guys about this, though. Okay? I did want to ask you about this. In light of all of the games that PlayStation has put on PC, and then obviously with like Helldivers on Xbox, it is interesting that they're making it look like, it's been mostly Xbox. It's been mostly PC. Okay, they brought in over $2 billion. In the grand scheme of things and how long they've been doing this, does that strike you as a lot of money, because it does me. I'm like, that's a lot of money. And that kind of pushes me towards some of the things I was saying about PlayStation 4 games and Nintendo. Like, I'm like, yep, I think this really backs what I've been saying. But I saw some people saying that, like, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a seismic amount of money, considering that how long they've been doing it. Narwaffle with 44 months and a VIP, boom, getting us a 262. I read it as, wow, that's a lot of money. But then I saw people commenting, and they're like, that's how much they've earned this entire time? It's good. It's not bad. But it's not what people are making it out to be. Ignoring me? What did I ignore? You didn't add mine? Where? Incredible, what are you talking about? I don't see anything from you. What did you do? Did you do a renewal? It's not in my fan funding page. I don't see it in the chat either. Is Bungie included in that? Wait, Eugene, are you saying is part of that $2 billion how much like Destiny's generating as a game because it's on multiple platforms? It was added up. It was way earlier. Homie, I'm scrolling all the way to the top. Oh, I see you. You did yours in between Bread My Butter and Dean Bromley. You said, gotta love these Concord characters. I'm sorry I missed that. I thought I read that one. My bad. I'll add it right now. For what they spend on porting, it's a lot. That's what I thought. I was like, they don't spend almost anything to port these games, like over $2 billion. I mean, I don't know, y'all. I feel like you're going to see more. You know? The Cerebral Boar is back. Nice. In Turok. Yes. I think it's great that they're going to let you play Turok first person. I think that's probably really, really exciting for the people that were worried it was going to be third person. Yo, it's good, Jack. Horizon Hunter Gathering video coming from you. I need to make one, Jack. I got a lot of thoughts. Thank you so much, Siege Master, for gifting a member, getting us to 264. You guys got about 38 minutes to hit the goal for Madam tomorrow night. Right now, we're talking about the recent report that PlayStation putting their games on their platforms has earned them over $2 billion. Another one from Siege Master. I know what he's doing. He's setting up the 10-bomb dunker to 275. When we hit 275, I owe you guys a member. Hype for Turok. Did not see it coming this year. I didn't realize it was coming this year either. Horizon gathering your thoughts. That's right. They've been doing this for over 5 years. It's really not a lot. What was the first game they put on? Let's see if Google knows. What was the first PlayStation game ported to Steam and when? Helldivers Die Harder Edition? I mean, like the first significant... Let's just go to Steam. Steam God of War. Let's see. Go to God of War. Verify my age. All right. PlayStation Publishing. All right. Let's go. Okay. So how do we get... That's featured. That's featured. That's featured. Top sellers. Right here. Game. What would it be? What would the first one be? Like the first game that like of significance that they brought over. Would it be Helldivers 1? After Helldivers 1, it would be 2020 looks like the earliest. 2020 for Horizon Zero Dawn, then 2021 for Days Gone, God of War. Okay. So there's our window. Okay. So if you take the 2.3 billion divided by 6, okay, Let me add this up. How much is this? It's looking like... Why can't I see this? How many commas would it take? 383,000? Okay. No. 383 million. Okay. Like what, like 4 million a year roughly? Is that right? A little under 4 million a year? A little under 400 million a year? I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at math. I'm terrible at like where do the commas go? I'm seeing 383 million a year is what it's saying. If you take the billions that they've earned over the last 6 years, it's like 383 million a year. Check me on that, but that's what I'm seeing in the basic division that I just did. I would say they're very pleased with that. If you're talking about porting cost and budgets of games, and they're pulling in close to 400 million a year over the course of the last 6 years of putting their games on PC and now Xbox with Helldivers. The first game was Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, that was 2020. That was 6 years ago. Yeah, the 2 billion's lifetime. No, it's not last quarter. 2 billion's lifetime. But you got to think about the budgets of games like this. If you're generating 383 million a year by putting your games... Again, if the math checks out and is correct, and this guy added it up correctly over there at Tweaktown. And again, the question is Destiny somehow included in that figure? I don't know if it is or not. I can pull up the Tweaktown article and we can see if it's like an accurate breakdown here. Excuse me. That's on average. Is it accelerating? I don't know, Jack. Yeah, I don't know. I can't get the article to come up. It's just spinning. Let me refresh and see if my internet's acting up. No, Steam just reloaded instantly. The Tweaktown article is just 100% just in a total spin. I can't get it to pull up right now. At $50 a copy, that's 7.6 million copies a year. That seems ridiculous. I don't buy that figure at all. I'm trying to pull up the article. It literally won't freaking load. I wanted to see how he added it all up, where he got the figure. Literally every website's running just fine. Tweaktown's having some kind of a problem. Twitter's loading fine. Twitch is loading fine. Steam is loading fine. YouTube's loading fine. Tweaktown's having some kind of an issue. It's quite literally, I can't even see it. It's not like it's loading slow. It's just a gray screen. Let me see if their entire website is down or just that article. No, Tweaktown's fine. Yeah. Tweaktown's fine. No, maybe it's not. The landing page is fine. I can't click on any articles. They're having some kind of a problem. I was suspicious when I first saw it and I disregarded it immediately. Didn't even bother looking. Connection timed out. Visit Cloudflare for more information. This is what it's saying. I can't get to the article. I don't know what's going on. We could see what Windows Central pulled out of it. Hang on. I just had the Windows Central article in front of me. We can click on the Windows Central article about it and see what they're saying. They might have pulled enough information from the Tweaktown article to argue it. I couldn't find anybody else making the claim. Just them. Okay, hang on. Derek Strickland has elaborated here. Sony has made at least $2.3 billion from selling first-party games and content on PC and Xbox. Data. Sony's other software segment includes sales of first-party games and add-on content on platforms other than PlayStation. To illustrate this, I plotted Sony's major multi-platform releases alongside the other software revenues for each period, then added a cumulative total. This guy says God of War on Xbox would make trillions for Sony. Matt Bags of 50 months in the VIP. I can't leave that 68 just sitting there. That's 68. Oh, for YouTube. Boom. 69 for YouTube. We're at 266 on the day. Eugene says, yeah, that number is BS. Yeah, I don't see how this is accurate. I was like, good golly, that's a lot of money. And people were like, there are people saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. I'm like, what do you mean it's not a lot of money? That's almost $400 million a year. There's no way. I'm trying to get to the Windows Central article. It was in my feed, and now it's not. Hang on. I'm still scrolling. I think I'm almost to it. I'm too stubborn to go and search and just go to Windows Central's Twitter account because I'm like, it'll be next. It'll be next. It'll be next. Man, frick X. It is such a garbage platform now. Stuff just disappears from your dadgum feed. Let's see here. I hate what this platform has become. Okay. Sony exceeds $2 billion in revenue for multi-platform game releases on Xbox and PC. Okay. Unless you've been stuck on a Fallout bunker the last few years, you might have noticed Microsoft and Sony putting their first-party games on platforms other than their own. While Microsoft is definitely the leader when it comes to putting its own content in other places other than Xbox, Sony's been doing quite a lot of work too. To make this point, Derek Strickland from Tweaktown posted on X, Sony's made $2.37 billion from selling first-party games and content on PC and Xbox. Okay, from his article. A bit ago, Sony reclassified how it records earnings for its PlayStation division. According in another segment called Other Software, as per Sony, the Other Software segment is defined as, quote, revenue from sales of first-party titles, including add-on content, on platforms other than PlayStation consoles. Okay? His source comes from Sony's fiscal year 25 quarter 3 earnings report. In it, the report, they say that their earnings from those other segments have reached a staggering $2.37 billion. That's right, Sony has made billions bringing games to Steam and Xbox alike. The question I would have here is if they're lumping it all together and they're not giving us the actual data, it's like what could be in there making the number so large? It's 46 million copies sold at $50 a copy. Right. Are they making, however though, Eugene, think about it. Are they making this money from microtransactions in MLB The Show, in Helldivers 2? It's anything. That includes mobile. What games do they have on mobile right now that could be generating that kind of revenue? Like microtransactions. What games have they put on mobile that we feel like could be generating that level of revenue? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. They have 12 million PC users on Helldivers on PC alone. Yeah, the number of people that bought Helldivers on PC alone could be generating a stupid amount of money in microtransactions. Not to mention MLB The Show as well. MLB could be generating a stupid amount in microtransactions. I'm also curious if in this thing, right, it says right here, other software is defined as revenue from sales of first-party titles, including add-on content. Does that include Destiny on PC and Xbox? Because we know Destiny generates a pretty good amount of revenue as well. Keep in mind, this dates all the way back to like 2020. I'm sorry, this dates all the way back to when they acquired Bungie. If they've been counting Bungie in this figure, it would go all the way back to when they acquired them. That's a lot. That Bungie and Destiny were doing pretty good those first couple of years. Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero, those are not PlayStation first-party titles. This says right here, sales of first-party titles including add-on content. Genshin and Zenless are not first-party PlayStation property. Call of Duty app. Once again, that's not a PlayStation first-party piece of property. That would not be in the financials of a Sony quarterly presentation. Ecstasis is claiming details on Kingdom Hearts 1 remake titled Relux, or probably Redux, developed by Toes using canceled mobile assets, featured restored content like a Jungle Book world and playable Riku sections. It's targeting a late 2026 or early 2027 release on PS5, Xbox, PC, and Switch 2. Maddie Plays is like, you better not miss with this one, bro. Mortal Kombat app. Yeah, I don't know. He's just throwing words out. He says not sure then. I think he was just guessing. Yeah, I think Jet James was just guessing. He was just guessing about like where the revenue could have come from. He's just throwing games out that are not games that would be counted in first party revenue. So, where can you buy Mugenics? Is this on all platforms or is it just Steam? Mugenics, there's no official listing for PlayStation Store version at this time. Yeah, it looks like Mugenics is only on PC, and it comes out in 4 days. It's getting really good reviews. Mugenics looks fun. It does. It's just on Steam. Okay. Well, we'll see if he can make enough to work on other versions. We've seen that happen before. I think it's totally fine, by the way. I fully support some of these smaller studios and teams building for PC first. I think that's totally fine. I think if it's going to lead to a better product and you can make good money and then you can potentially support yourself to, fund a port to other platforms, I fully support that. You won't see a lot of people giving him grief and calling his game, an exclusive, that's anti-consumer, even though it's only available on one place. That dialogue and narrative only applies to, the brand that you don't like, not across the actual board, because it's not a consistent position. Any interest in Neo 3? No. I'm really thrilled for fans of Neo and Souls fans because it's being highly praised. It's got a great score. Homie, I can't play games like that anymore. I don't have the temperament for it. I don't enjoy them. I'm going to get stuck on one fight and I'm going to be like, I don't want to play this. I don't want to play this. Like, it's just not, I'm not cut out for it. I'm not cut out for those games. So, all right, guys, you got about 22 minutes, and then we're going to be going to Green Room. We do the Green Room in the Discord now. You guys are going to have to really scramble if you want to make Madam do her weekly Gaming News Tonight segment tomorrow night where she reacts to gaming news, and then we do owe you some High Guard gameplay. We'll make her do that again tomorrow. Edmund made Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac. AAA money for later ports. There's like 4 people on Mugenics. Having a ton of money, though, doesn't mean that you would change your approach. It's still better for them, probably more economical, to build for one platform and then bring it to others once it's justified. Like, yeah, sure, he could throw a ton of money at and grow his studio and get a bunch of people and then make the game for multiple platforms. I think that would be a very bad idea because Are you going to generate that much revenue from a game like Mugenics? I mean, maybe if it goes viral and gets like a Silk Song level of, virality and popularity. But if it doesn't, he could end up losing tons of money. So I think it makes perfectly good sense for studios of that size to behave in that way. Super Meat Boy was one of those games that kicked my teeth in, and I still haven't recovered. Oh yeah, a lot of people have told me that's a tough game. Isn't there a new one that just came out or is coming out? New Super Meat Boy game, Super Meat Boy 3D, right? It's coming sometime this year. Yeah. Super Meat Boy this 3D looks like Astrobot with pain and buzzsaws. Yeah. I was agreeing with you because there's a handful of people. Oh, you were giving the context of agreeing with me. Like, listen, there's 4 people on the game, even though he's got tons of money. No, okay, so we're in agreement. Okay, I was going to say, yeah. They're counting Destiny, including Destiny's a gray area. It's all gray. PlayStation didn't publish it. It's a very misleading number. I mean, yeah, you guys can come to your own conclusions that Tweaktown ran it. It seems like it's a pretty big misrepresentation, especially because now Windows Central's running it, and they throw an Xbox on the thumbnail to make it seem like PlayStation put games on PC and Xbox, and now they're making billions. And it's like, if you're including Destiny, that's an incredibly misleading way to frame it and headline it. You're making it seem like, oh yeah, dude, they're going to do so much more of this. They made over $2 billion. It's like, yeah, you're including Destiny. Like, microtransactions in Destiny and MLB The Show are in that total. So, that is not an accurate representation of what they've earned from porting games to PC. And then Helldivers 2, like, come on. That's a very, very huge misrepresentation. So, I think they've made good money by having... The better way to frame it would be to say, PlayStation clearly sees that having your software and your property in other places can be another great revenue source. We're not talking about porting. We're talking about games like MLB The Show. We're talking about games that are like Destiny, that are like live service in multiple places. They can generate a whole lot of money. If anything, the real thing that it's probably encouraging them to do more of is live service games with microtransactions, which nobody wants to hear that. But if they're looking at the money coming from MLB and Helldivers and Destiny, it's not surprising that PlayStation's going to continue to try to push into the live service funnel, because they're looking at their money that they're pulling in from, PC and Xbox, and they're like, this is great. We're kind of killing it right now. We're kind of crushing it right now. So, Wired Rope says Tweaktown's not a good source. They were the only ones I could see reporting on it. Windows Central's now reporting on it, but they're largely just saying, hey, Tweaktown is claiming this. Tweaktown's reporting this. So, I'm sure there'll be a whole lot of content about that in the coming days. PlayStation made over $2 billion porting games to PC and Xbox. And it's like, well, a lot of that is from games that were already multi-plat and generating revenue off of microtransactions like Destiny and MLB The Show, so you're not getting an accurate representation. It's not like a data point for, look how much money we made from porting. Yeah, it's just not true. Like, yeah. That would be a very, very specific line item. What is the return of investment been from porting our games to PC? What is the return of investment been on porting a game like Helldivers to Xbox? That would be a more direct question. Never really said porting. Okay, but if you look at the way that look at the thumbnail for the Windows Central article. It's a PlayStation logo on top of an Xbox. Like, since Sony has started releasing its games on platforms that aren't the PlayStation, new data suggests it has brought in over $2 billion. Okay, that's a really, really odd frame when you're including games like MLB The Show and Destiny. They're not releasing their games on platforms that are on PlayStation. Those are multi-platform games. Does that make sense? That's framed as if they're taking PlayStation titles to Xbox and PC and making $2 billion. When you have multi-platform games like MLB The Show and Destiny, again, I really, really think that you're framing that up. This is just like the way that Phil Spencer does interviews. You're framing it up in a way where people are going to read that and be like, oh yeah, PlayStation putting their games on PC and Xbox, yeah, they made $2 billion from that. It's framed to make you think that. Look at the second thing they say on the tweet, brother. Living proof that for companies making games, exclusivity is leaving valuable revenue on the table. It's taking a direct sight of shot at exclusivity. That is framed as if, oh yeah, these games went over and made all this money. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing exclusivity, you're leaving money on the table. And how much of the revenue in that $2 billion came from MLB The Show and Destiny? Not porting God of War to PC. We don't have a definitive line item indicating how much money they're actually making from porting games, because Destiny's not a port. MLB's not a port. It's a licensure deal where they do a multi-plat release. That's not a port. So again, you're dealing with, I don't know. I feel like you're dealing with the framing in order guaranteed like clockwork. There's going to be videos and podcasts all throughout the weekend that are going to be running this idea that PlayStation's going to port more games because they made over $2 billion porting games to other platforms, when so much of the revenue in that $2 billion is coming from pre-existing multi-plat release strategy with games like MLB The Show or a pre-existing game like Destiny. I don't know. You cannot look at the sales reports this week, the earnings reports from Sony and PlayStation this week, and look at how well Yotei did and how they're celebrating Yotei, and think that they're going to be like, oh, but exclusives are leaving money on the table. They celebrated Yotei for a reason. You wouldn't do that if exclusives were leaving money on the table. Is it worth doing a video after all those videos come out? I mean, maybe. I don't really like getting into the whole call out culture on YouTube. We're trying to steer very, very wide of that because it just invites toxicity, and we just end up in a content funnel that I think is very unproductive. I would much rather just tell people, hey, this figure is going to float around. The reality of this figure is far more complex than, yeah, they made billions by porting their games to PC and Xbox. That's not it. They've got multi-plat games that are generating tons of money through microtransactions, like an MLB The Show or a Destiny. If you look at the figure, 2.3 billion, that's not from game sales. That's insane. They've not sold that many copies of games on Steam. Now, Helldivers is in the mix, generating a stupid amount of money for them, sure. But again, a lot of that revenue on Helldivers was generated on PC. But they're not getting that level of revenue on PC from Horizon, Spider-Man, or God of War. So again, that's extremely slanted in the total. Then you're saying it's over 1.5 billion. If they've generated $1.5 billion from Helldivers on Steam, and you're throwing out a 2.3 billion number, that means not even 1 billion of the two is there's not even a billion left after that point. 1.5 billion of the 2.3 allegedly came from Helldivers, according to this screenshot right here. This is from Alinea Analytics. They're speculating that Steam gross revenue generated PlayStation Studio games 1.5 billion. Oh, that's not just from Helldivers. Sorry, this is from all the games. Look at how much came from Helldivers is my point. Yeah, I misread the chart. Sorry, Paul. It was really small in Discord, so I thought that was for Helldivers. Look at how much came from Helldivers, though, comparatively. I mean, it's got 4 times that of Spider-Man, 3 times that of Days Gone. No, 4 to 3, and then 3 times that of Horizon and God of War. this is abnormal. That's an abnormal amount of money in revenue. And again, that's probably just considering actual, the speculation there from the analytics company is probably just based off of actual sales and not the actual, that's not from, that probably doesn't even include microtransactions. Helldivers estimated $400 million from PC. Right there, it's saying $12.7 million. Oh, you're saying $400 million. You're saying even more. All right, guys, you got about 10 minutes before we go to Green Room. If you're going to scramble, now's the time. If you are going to scramble, now is the time. Lego Batman. Everything you know about Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. Built-in Unreal 5. Oh, they got a whole rundown here. I may save that for later. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Mugenics has a 90 on Metacritic and OpenCritic. Shinobi's got it right here. The new game from the guy that made Binding of Isaac. It's got a 90 on Metacritic and OpenCritic. Good for him. Good for him. That's excellent. It makes you see why studios chase live service. Yo, XCal hits 43 months over there on Purple and gets us to 267. We need about 130. If you guys are going to make Madam stream tomorrow night, you're going to give her an eye of the night off, which I am not going to complain about that. I'm just going to keep scrolling here and look to see if anything else is happening in the next 10 minutes. I am not going to try and push y'all on this one. We're not going to extend beyond that. The 12 million is units sold. Oh, sorry, Gandalf. The 400 million is the revenue for Helldivers 2. And PC total revenue in that Windows from 2020 is less than 2% of PlayStation Division revenue. Right, so the people that were saying in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. The issue is, I think it's going to push them more into the realm of like live service with like microtransactions. I think it's going to push them more in that direction. Live service, microtransactions. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we need to start putting our porting process into overdrive. I will say this. It does add some credence to the Switch stuff that I was saying, because like it is like printing money, because the money that they spend to do it is minimal compared to the amount of money that it generates for them. I think that's something to consider. I'd be very, very interested to see how much money they could make if they took like the PS4 version of Spider-Man 1 over to the Switch 2. I don't know. There's something about that makes me very, very curious. I could see Helldivers 2 land on the Switch 2. No, I think like multiplayer games like that that's just not conducive to that audience. Lonar Hiddens, hear you. What did Windows Central say now? I'm just getting back to chat after morning meetings. It wasn't Windows Central. Windows Central was reporting on what Tweaktown was claiming, which was that PlayStation has generated like $2.3 billion by having their games on other platforms. We looked at it, and it includes games like MLB The Show. It includes games like Destiny. So it's a little, I don't know. It's framed in a way. Yeah, you're ignoring me too now. Unbelievable. I was 30 minutes behind. Oh, sorry, Sven. It's framed in a way where it makes it seem like they made like $2.3 billion from porting games. that doesn't add up given the total number of sales of a lot of these games. Now, what does add up is they've made a ton of money in Helldivers, they've made a ton of money in MLB The Show, and they made a ton of money in Destiny. And including Destiny is so disingenuous. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot in there. There's also a lot in there that was generated purely in Helldivers 2 on PC. That, again, is not a PlayStation game coming to PC. It was a live service multi-plat release. There are categories here. Helldivers 2 is not the same as when they brought God of War to PC. They're completely different. A simultaneous live service release and a game that went viral generates a ton of money and is a huge slice of the pie. That doesn't communicate that. You guys got 5 minutes. I haven't seen any of the big boys around. Y'all are cooked. You're gonna give Madam tomorrow night off. I'm not extending. When this hits 0, we are out of here. I give YouTube like an extra minute or two because of stream delay. It's misleading, can make people they're gonna do more porting. I think they're gonna have a healthy cadence of porting. I don't think they're gonna be like, we made $2.3 billion from porting, let's do more. They know where most of that revenue is coming from. It's coming from microtransactions in games like Destiny, MLB The Show. They made a ton of it from Helldivers 2, which again was not a port. That's like saying we're the biggest publisher after they buy 2 massive publishers and they have Call of Duty. Sure. I was trying to crack my back. Couldn't do it. Failed. Yeah. Yo, Soul Train's gonna gift 1. He says, listen, boys, many hands make light work. It only takes 1 to start it. Thank you so much, Soul Train. I appreciate that. This all factors into why their porting strategy is much more nuanced and well thought out, says Gandalf. They don't have an urgent impetus to put games everywhere, and they get to extend their hardware ecosystem. Correct. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I kept telling you guys, when people kept equating those things as like, well, PlayStation's doing it too, and they were making it seem equal to what Xbox is doing. I'm like, that is just so not accurate. That feels so disingenuous. They're not the same. The strategies aren't the same. The intention's not the same. The cadence is not the same. It's vastly different. A free-to-play RPG, Neverness to Everness, just launched in a new closed beta test across PC, PS5, and mobile that showcases its latest improvements and additions. Pre-registrations for the full release are now open on the App Store and Google Play. The frick? PS5? Neverness to Everness? It's like a waifu game with cars? Like, what the frick? Super sound gameplay? This is like an everything game that like does like literally everything. Yeah, I'm good. No interest. Also, live service don't make all that money if there isn't unlimited players. That's true. But again, think of it this way, Rope. If they're like, we could put a bunch of games out there that are like live service, and if 1 or 2 of them hit, they can make a stupid amount of money. Like what we talked about today with the Horizon MMO. It could go crazy on mobile in China, right? Now, you got guys like Mighty Keith. He says, Horizon Gathering looks like Dauntless with a AAA budget. I'm actually interested. It could find some audience. There could be an audience that like vibes with the art style, that vibes with the Monhun thing, like a more casual Monhun thing, right? Like, that certainly is a possibility. You know, and that's maybe how they're looking at it. They're like, look, man, the money that these kind of games can generate is absurd. Let's just keep throwing things at the wall. We only need 1 or 2 to stick. It's a GTA clone, free to play, and it's getting a lot of excitement. Oh, really? Neverness to everness. Okay, this is not happening in a minute and 30 seconds. So let me just tell you guys what we're getting ready to do. So there's a Discord link in the description on YouTube, but if you're on Purple, you need to use the Discord command. If you are a sub or member, like a sub on Purple or a member on YouTube, you get access to the Discord, and that is where the Green Room takes place. Green Room on Fridays is more of just like a hangout session. I'm not going to chill for super long because like I've got things I like to work on and do, whether it's like writing a script, recording a video, playing a game. But we do hang out with you guys on Friday. So no Saturday stream tomorrow. I've got to be a stickler on that. It is a pretty big deal for us to take a Saturday evening and to come down here and react to gaming news and have Madam play High Guard. That's why we make it a weekly goal. It's a fun way to celebrate the week. It's completely extra content. We still do live shows Monday through Friday. We still do uploads. Sometimes you get more than one show, like yesterday, in a given day. So our content output remains the same, and that extra show on the weekends is there as an opportunity for you guys just to get one more time to hang out and see Madam react to the gaming news, or maybe make her play something funny. This is mainly chat, but look at the live service and like how animals lay tons of eggs. Half of them may die. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. Like I said, I don't feel like they're cracking eggs to make omelets. I feel like they're throwing eggs at a wall in the hopes that something sticks. So, all right. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the Discord. If you're not going to come to the Discord, the latest upload that is out there for you guys to enjoy is one on Crimson Desert. And this is one that you may not have seen. This is one where I reacted to some Digital Foundry commentary talking about how I believe the game is too good to be true. So if you can't come to the Discord, check out that latest video about Crimson Desert. All right? Y'all take care and have a great weekend if I don't see you in the Discord. All right? See ya.